Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto discovering a long-lost ancient forbidden master sealing technique part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. All of the Konoha Genins with their Jounin senseis inside the building were standing on the balcony and looking out at the arena floor in stunned silence. The Hokage himself was surprised at the unexpected turn of events. The Suna Genins with their Jounin sensei Baki looked at what just happened with calculative eyes. Dosu, age 14, and this Jounin sensei saw that Konoha still had promising ninjas hidden under their shadow. Naruto, age 13, sported a smile of approval while Kurenai looked on in utter disbelief at what she thought was going to be a predictable one-sided match. Hinata, age 13, the Hyuga heiress stood calm and upright on the arena floor with her Byakugan fully activated and without her usual jacket on. That was so after she took it off and tossed it to the side before the match began. Her head protector was also tied around her head with some of her hair draped over it. Niji, age 14, the proclaimed prodigy of the Hyuga clan, was also on the arena floor with his Byakugan fully activated. But he was on his hand and knee, sweating hard, bleeding and coughing blood from his mouth, and struggling to catch his breath after sustaining swift and brutal assaults the Hyuga heiress inflicted on him, one after another. And to his and everyone's shock, except Naruto's, Hinata hadn't been struck once by Niji during their entire match of the preliminaries. Where did all of this power and strength come from? Niji wondered as he looked back at Hinata with anger, disdain, and confusion. Hinata-sama has always been the weakest and the most disappointing heiress of the main house. She couldn't even win a fight against Hanabi-sama, and her Juken was always the poorest. How could she have changed so suddenly and hurt me, the prodigy of our clan, this bad? It doesn't make any sense. Fate had her future as a failure decided from long ago. Niji grew only angrier the more he thought about it. I've never seen Hinata like this before, Shino, age 13, remarked. Her unexplainable change is indeed remarkable. She's really pushing Niji to his limits, Guy said. I honestly didn't expect this outcome considering how the match started with all the things Niji was saying to her. All of you underestimated Hinata-chan, Naruto said with a grin. I knew she had it in her to show that bastard a thing or two about who's truly weak. But Niji was said to be a genius and Hyuga prodigy, Ino, age 13, said, when compared to each other, Hinata was said not to measure up to him. The same was said of Sasuke team, age 13, Naruto remarked, and yet Lee beat him in one fight. Sakura, age 13, and Ino both snarled at Naruto, but they knew that he was telling the truth, as much as they didn't want to hear it. Kurenai was looking on at Hinata as thought she was trying to read her. What happened to you, Hinata? Kurenai wondered. Kakashi saw the look on Kurenai's face and saw that she had a look that showed that she was trying to make sense of things. I don't want to hurt you any more than I already have, Nizan, Hinata said composedly. You're clearly in no condition to continue. I don't need your pity, Hinata-sama. Niji spat disrespectfully as he got up and stood back up, looking Hinata straight in the eyes. You may have improved, but I can still fight and come out the victor as fate decreed since this match is beginning. I suffered in many ways, Nizan, and I know you're aware of that, Hinata said sympathetically. But I have friends and a very special person in my life who acknowledged and helped me overcome my problems. And I can see that you're suffering too and have been for all these years by allowing yourself to be enslaved to your scapegoat, the illusion of fate. How dare you, Niji yelled before he charged at Hinata with all of his remaining strength with the aim to kill her. Hinata stood there and waited for Niji to reach her with his right arm extended out, aiming to strike her heart directly. Seeing an opening, Hinata, at the last second, sidestepped Niji and thrust her fingers into his back, hitting several spots on his back. This resulted in Niji falling forward past her with the same speed before crashing down on his face and chest, sliding across the floor for a few seconds before coming to a stop and his bloodline limit deactivating. Niji found that he was unable to move any part of his body. He was completely paralyzed. Gecko Hate went over and examined Niji. It didn't take him long to make a decision. Niji can no longer continue, Hate announced. Winner, Hyuga Hinata. Yeah, Naruto cheered and shouted, way to go, Hinata-chan. You kicked ass. You're the best. Hinata smiled and blushed from Naruto's praise and acknowledgement. She's strong, Gaara, age 13, said with a deadpan facial expression with his arms crossed over his chest. I wouldn't have expected such a feat from one who looked so fragile. Hearing Gaara compliment and acknowledge someone without contempt surprised his siblings and even Baki. I have to agree, Baki said. She was well trained and disciplined in her arts. Her battle was flawless. Looks like Konoha has at least one capable genin kunoichi in their ranks, Temari, age 16, said smugly. Her skills were that of a true ninja. I have to say she gave a good fight, Kankuro, age 15, added. With the Konoha Nins. This can't be the same Hinata we went to the academy with, Sakura said in disbelief. I mean that speed, her strength, her agility. It was uncanny, Ino added. Yes, Lee cheered enthusiastically. Hinata's flames have reached peaks I myself will train hard to reach. She's radiating with the brightness of her youthfulness. Troublesome, Shikamaru said, she's really becoming more and more like Naruto. Well, I told Naruto earlier that Hinata is very much like him, Lee added, and her youthful display against Niji only served to prove my point. I wonder what kind of training regimen Kurenai-sensei put her though, Ino said. It must have been harsh if it got Hinata to come this far. Hinata's moves, timing and judgment and tactics against Niji were incredible, Asuma commented. She's truly improved a great deal from how she used to be from what I've heard. Hinata surprised us indeed, Shino said. I had no idea she was capable of such feats at her current level. Nor did I, Kurenai admitted, catching everyone's attention, even Kakashi's and the Hokage's. What do you mean? Kakashi asked. Wasn't Hinata's display against Niji the results of the training you gave her? I trained her, Kurenai said. That I did. But during those times she looked like she was having much difficulty reaching her goals of improvement despite her best effort. But what I saw just moments ago went beyond any kind of training I put her through and everything I thought I knew about her. I always thought I knew everything there was to Hinata. How could I have missed this? It was no secret that Kurenai was always like a mother figure to Hinata. The thing that bothered Kurenai was that the match clearly showed her that she didn't know Hinata as well as she thought. And that could be said of many others who were inside the building. Things just keep getting interesting, Hiruzen thought to himself. Hinata is more deceptive and cunning than she lets on, a true ninja indeed. Hinata, with her Byakugan deactivated, went over to Niji, who was being placed on a carrying cot. As he was being raised up to be taken away, Hinata stood next to him and said, Your paralysis isn't permanent. It'll wear off after you've been given healing and medical attention. Niji felt totally numb as he couldn't use a muscle in his body to raise even a finger. This can't be, Niji said. Fate had this fight decided. It had your future as an unchanging failure decided. We're responsible for our own futures and the decisions we make in life, Nizan, Hinata said. It's time you start understanding that and start taking charge of your own future and free yourself of the hold the idea of fate has on you. Saying nothing more, Hinata stood there as Niji was taken away. Hinata, however, was caught by surprise when a pair of arms wrapped around her from behind in a tight hug. You did it, Hinata-chan, Naruto cheered. I knew you could win. No doubt about that. Databeo. Thank you, Naruto-kun, Hinata said with her blush growing darker from the close contact with Naruto. In life, people often believe they know something if not everything about a person. But in the world of ninjas, that isn't always the case. And oftentimes, one act can change what people think they know about others. 4 years earlier, Jiraiya was walking through the remains of the once famed Yuzu no Kuni. The country was once governed by the now nearly deceased Uzumaki clan. It was the very clan that was once known and feared for bringing forth powerful seal masters like no other. The Uzumakis were also known for many things besides seals. They were also known for having massive amounts of chakra and longevity, outliving most and seeing many years. They even created seals that were powerful enough to contain Kyubi, the strongest of the 9 bijus. In fact, many of the seals the ninjas in Konoha used were designed by the Uzumaki clan. Very few knew the history between the Senju and Uzumaki clans. They both descended from a common ancestor who in fact was the younger son of the Rakudo Sennin, and the two clans shared close ties with each other. So much so that Shodame Hokage, Senju Hashirama, married Uzumaki Mito and thus united the two clans by marriage. Also, the Shodame decreed and made it law that all of ninjas of Konoha were to wear the familial crest of the Uzumaki clan on their uniforms. Despite their prestige, the Uzumaki clan had many enemies from other nations that feared them and sought their destruction. Most of the Uzumaki clan members were killed, while the few that survived scattered to other parts of the world, with their locality being unknown. Uzumaki Kushina was brought to Konoha before the destruction of her clan to become the next Jinchuriki of Kyubi, since Mito, the first Jinchuriki of Kyubi, was reaching the end of her life. Kushina took up residence in that village and became a kunoichi of Konoha. She later found love with Namikaze Minato, the man who later became known as Yandame Hokage. Sadly, their lives were cut short due to an unforeseen occurrence involving Madara's attack on Konoha. The villagers were told by Sarutobi Hiruzen, the Sandame, that Yandame defeated the Kyubi by imprisoning and sealing it into a newly born child named Uzumaki Naruto. The child Sandame knew was the son of Minato and Kushina. Over the years, the villagers made Naruto's life bitter and lonesome. It boiled down to the point that even the children of the villagers were influenced by the grown-ups' mistreatment of Naruto and joined in adding to Naruto's grief and loneliness. Despite knowing the truth, Hiruzen never told Naruto the truth about his parents or heritage from the Uzumaki clan. The aged Hokage always thought it would cause too much trouble for Naruto if the truth was to come out. It was rather hypocritical considering the fact that Naruto's life was already filled with a great deal of trauma than it was worth. Jiraiya sighed as he thought about his godson whom he haven't seen or talked to once. He didn't even write to him, or inquired of the Hokage of Naruto's life or treatment in the village. The Sannin knew who his parents were and that Naruto was the Jinchuriki of Kyuubi. He knew Naruto's parents died in Kyuubi's attack, being the ones that personally stopped Kyuubi and died in the process of doing so. Jiraiya often knew about making contact with Naruto but never actually made the time to do so. He always put his godfather responsibilities on hold and placed being a ninja in higher priority. He did this while continuously tracking Orochimaru and keeping tabs on a newly formed organization rising, the Akatsuki. Recently, Jiraiya received word from one of his informants in his spy network that Orochimaru came through the country once known as Yuzu-no-Kuni. Jiraiya was told that Orochimaru was in search of something, but what the traitorous snake Sannin was looking for was unknown. The Toad Sage decided to investigate and see what was in the desolate land that drew Orochimaru's attention. Jiraiya spent 2 days looking through the remains of the country but found nothing. Every lead was a dead end. This is proving to be a waste of my time, Jiraiya muttered as he left one old building and traveled to another. He walked into an old house that was in ruins like all the others. After walking around, Jiraiya was about to leave when his eyes caught something. There was an open door that led to a room that looked to be a book room at one time. Going into the room, Jiraiya entered and found that on the floor was the Uzumaki familial seal with blurred writings around it. The sage focused chakra into it, and to his surprise the seals and the spiral crest glow and dispelled, revealing a secret door that led to an underground cellar. This should prove to be interesting, Jiraiya said as he journeyed into the cellar. Performing a fire jutsu, Jiraiya made a torch for himself to see through the darkness. Reaching the bottom, the Sannin walked through a short hallway and found a closed door before. Breaking the door open, the sage looked into and saw old withering scrolls resting on shelves all around. He looked through the scrolls but saw that the writings were too worn out to be understood properly. Others deteriorated from aging. After an hour, Jiraiya decided to leave. As he did, again something caught Jiraiya's attention. To his right was a relic wrapped and tied in cloth. Going over it, Jiraiya picked up the covered relic and found the kanji for legacy written on it. Untying and unwrapping the relic, the sage found that the artifact was in fact an ancient scroll of some sort. I wonder what's in this, Jiraiya said out loud. He wondered this as he untied and opened the scroll, only to find that he couldn't read the writings in it. The seals written in the scroll were far more advanced and complex in nature. They were unlike any seal Jiraiya had ever seen. In the center of the seals were sophisticated seal drawings made in a pattern to form a spiral design representing the Uzumaki clan crest. Truly the work of a true seal master, Jiraiya said as he studied the writings. No doubt it was an Uzumaki clan leader from long ago who designed and made this seal. Closing the scroll, Jiraiya placed the scroll inside his vest and left the cellar. With nothing else to find, the Toad Sage departed from Yuzu-no-Kuni. 1 year later, Jiraiya spent many sleepless nights trying to study and interpret the ancient scroll. Even the Toad Sage Fukusaku was at a loss trying to interpret the ancient seals, and many books both Jiraiya and Fukusaku researched had no information on the seals. It was at that point that Fukusaku told Jiraiya that the seals were heavily encrypted and that the people in the Uzumaki clan from long ago who created the seals didn't want it discovered for reasons unknown. That, however, led to Jiraiya's curiosity to be heightened even further despite Fukusaku's warning about tampering with ancient seals that they had no information on. But after a great deal of effort, Jiraiya was finally able to decrypt and unlock the seals, allowing him to read the writings that were penned into the scroll. From what Jiraiya learned from his heavy research into the seals, he found that the seal drawings went as far back to 70 to 90 years after the death of the Rikudo Sannin. Thus the Uzumaki seal masters of that time were close in descent to the second son of the Rikudo Sannin. The sage spent a number of nights reading the scroll and the intricate hand signs that went with the seals. It took Jiraiya 5 months to understand the seals and the hand signs, but he finally caught on to the sequence. Wanting to know what the seal could do, Jiraiya decided to test it out. In an isolated forest cut off from civilization, Jiraiya decided to test out the ancient seal jutsu that night. Setting the scroll down on the ground, Jiraiya saw that the needed amount of chakra required for the jutsu was very massive. Clearly this was no ordinary jutsu, and anyone attempting it without the required level of chakra would die from chakra exhaustion alone. Acknowledging this, Jiraiya summoned Fukusaku and his wife Shima and merged with them in order to go into sage mode. He decided to use sage chakra for the jutsu Oji. Jiraiya-chan, Fukusuka cautioned, I'm still wary about the use of this seal. The very fact that you even summoned us in order to use Sage Mode for this Fuin Jutsu is alarming enough. Without a doubt, Shima added, this ancient seal is an S-class Jutsu Ugi. Whoever this Uzumaki seal master was that created this seal must have had Sage level if not Bija level chakra. Then again, the Uzumakis were renowned for their massive amount of chakra. There must have been a reason why this jutsu was created, Jiraiya replied. What I want is to discover what it can do. We're just saying to be careful, Fukusuka said. We don't want anything bad happening to you before you find and prepare the child of prophecy. I know, Jiraiya replied, but still, I wish to know what this Fuin jutsu can do. At that, Jiraiya closed his eyes to focus and summoned the required amount of Sage chakra into his body. After several moments, he reached the level he needed. Opening his eyes, Jiraiya raced through the intricate pattern of hand signs that went with the jutsu he was seeking to execute. When he was done, he clasped his hands together. Fuin Jutsu, Izo Sozo Fujin, Jiraiya said, summoning the activation of the sealing jutsu. No sooner than he did that when he saw that he couldn't move his body. Fukusuka and Shima sensed their movements were also restricted. I can't, Shima said with a strained move. I can't either, Fukusuka said. What's happening to us? I don't know, Jiraiya admitted. Jiraiya was cut off when a sharp pain tore through him. His strained a scream that wanted to escape from his mouth. Jiraiya-chan, Fukusuka and Shima cried out to Jiraiya despite their own situation. Suddenly, seal drawings started appearing around Jiraiya's hands and traveling up to his forehead. Reaching his forehead, the seals then started writing more seal drawings down, and all around the Toad Sage's body and to the bottom of his feet. When that was done, the seals glowed before being absorbed into Jiraiya's body. Seconds later, Jiraiya screamed out loudly in agony as though he was being torn apart from the inside. All of his Sage chakra and regular chakra were being drained from out of his body. Fukusuka and Shima did everything they could think of the break out of the paralyzed condition, but to no avail. The two sages could only watch helplessly as Jiraiya yelled out his pain. Moments later, the glowing seals appeared around his whole body again before floating and removing themselves off Jiraiya's body and fusing into the written seals that were on the open scroll on the ground in front of Jiraiya. As for Jiraiya himself, he was panting heavily with trying to gasp for breath in spite of the fact that he was losing strength and consciousness fast. After fusing with the seals in the scroll started glowing before floating off the scroll and forming into a bright glowing white orb radiating a mighty blue flame aura completely filled with Sage chakra. The orb itself had moving seal writings and drawings all around it, and at the center inside the orb was the glowing Uzumaki spiral crest, which was spinning like a vortex. In the center of the spinning vortex was the shining golden kanji for legacy. The orb seal flashed brightly and shot off into the starlit night skies, flying off towards an unknown destination like a shooting star. Seconds later, Jiraiya fell flat to the ground face down unconscious with Sage mode being deactivated right after hitting the ground. Jiraiya-chan, Fukusuka and Shima cried out worriedly after mobility was restored to them. The scroll itself deteriorated into dust after its envisioned purpose was done. Some time later, Jiraiya's eyes moved slowly under his eyelids. A minute later, his eyes opened as they gradually adjust to the light. You've awoken, Fukusuka sighed in relief, thank goodness. Shima and I were worried that you'd never awake again. Shima is preparing some food. Jiraiya tried to sit up but found that he was incredibly weak to even move an inch. Ugh, Jiraiya whimpered, where are we? Back in Myobokuzen, Fukusuka replied before changing his tone into a scolding one. That was a reckless and dangerous gamble you played performing that Kinfuin Jutsu Oji. Not only were you completely unprepared for the side effects of using that jutsu, but you'd have surely died within that very same hour as Shima and I didn't hurriedly bring you back for immediate treatment and medical attention. That jutsu took a heavy toll on your mind and body and chakra. And it completely absorbed all of your Sage chakra and normal chakra as it brought you to within less than an inch on your life. The one and only reason why you didn't completely die was because Shima and I were still fused with you, thus some of our chakra helped keep you alive long enough to bring you here for immediate help. It was unlike anything we've ever seen. You're telling me, Jiraiya replied weakly, how long was I unconscious? 3 months, Fukusuka said. Jiraiya turned to his mentor with a surprised look. Say what? Jiraiya remarked. You fell into a coma, Fukusuka said, a deep one right after we restored your body. We tried everything we could think of to wake you but nothing worked. You responded to nothing we did and your vitals were on critical for days before we were able to stabilize them. We had no idea whether or not the condition was permanent. Left alone you'd have died long ago. The pain in Jiraiya had soon gone away. Where's the scroll? Jiraiya asked. Destroyed, Fukusuka said simply. You destroyed the scroll, Jiraiya asked. I guess it was too dangerous to be tested again, huh? No, Shima answered as she entered the room with some food for herself and Fukusuku. The scrolls self-destructed right after you used that jutsu. Evidently those seals were only for a one-time use, taking the user's life after its completion. What I would like to know is why a clan leader and seal master from the Uzumaki clan from long ago creates such a kinjutsu, Fukusuka said. That's what I wanted to find out, Jiraiya replied. All I know was that I felt chakra and things in my mind were being pulled from right out of me while my body was being dissected and analyzed. It took whatever it did to me and flew off to who knows where before leaving me for dead. In the center of the orb was the word legacy, Fukusuka said. I wonder what kind of legacy it was meant to create before taking your life. I suppose time will tell, Jiraiya replied, if or when that sealing jutsu's effects ever surface. 6 months later, in Konoha. At the Ninja Academy, all of the students were of various age groups were gathered together outside in the training yard. Many Chunin teachers, the headmaster, and even the Sandaime were there. Today everyone was gathered together outside to demonstrate their newly learned jutsu or fighting styles, be it from the academy or their respective clan. Many of the would-be genins were all talking and conversing with each other about how they intend to prove their strengths to whoever their opponent was. Sasuke, age 9, was brooding by himself to the side with most of the girls of this age group drooling over him, all but one Higa Hinata, age 9, whose eyes and heart was drawn to the class clown and village pariah, Uzumaki Naruto, age 9. Speaking of Naruto, he was off to the side hiding behind a tree reading a book of some sort, one of a series of books he had to keep from being found. Hinata couldn't help but notice that a blush would frequently appear on Naruto's face with a couple of giggles escaping his mouth when he read those books. I wonder what he could be reading in those books, Hinata wondered, but never grew the courage to ask him personally. It must be an interesting book. Hinata wasn't the only eyeing Naruto. At another spot, Sarutobi Hiruzen, the Sandaime, was looking over at Naruto, who distanced himself away from the rest of the class. Not for the same reasons as Sasuke, but because he was up to one of his mischievous antics. It was no secret to Hiruzen what Naruto was reading, even though he wondered what triggered Naruto's complete change in character 9 months ago. Attention everyone, Iruka said, grabbing everyone's attention. Please assemble with your class as we're about to commence today's event, the Academy Field Day. Despite being engrossed in his book, Naruto closed and put his book away before making his way back to his class. As he did so, Sakura, age 9, and Ino, age 9, along with some of the other girls, were competing over who was going to stand next to Sasuke, much to the other boys' and teachers' annoyance. All of you please knock it off and give the headmaster and Hokage a professional impression of yourselves. Iruka, age 23, berated, you all are future ninjas of this village, so please play the part professionally. That got them to quiet down and pay attention up front. You certainly have a way with words, Iruka, Hiruzen remarked with a chuckle. Iruka scratched the back of his head with a small grin. Nah, Iruka replied, I'm just trying to help them become the best ninjas our village can produce. Such modesty, the headmaster commented as he made his way over to Iruka and Hiruzen. The headmaster himself was a BA class Jounin ninja. I'm honored that you chose to be present for today's event despite your very busy schedule, Sandaime-sama, the headmaster said. Well, Hiruzen said, even I need a break from all of my work. Besides, I personally wanted to see the progress everyone has made so far while attending the academy. I made lots and lots of progress, Jizan, Naruto yelled enthusiastically, just you wait. After today, you'll be begging to pass down that Hokage hat and robe to me as your successor. Databeo. Knock it off, Naruto. Sakura yelled, this is not a time for one of your jokes. If anything, Sasuke-kun has a better chance at the title Hokage than you do. Ain't that right, Sasuke-kun? Sasuke grunted with his hands in his pants pocket. Well, Naruto, Hiruzen smiled, I'm sure with Iruka's help you've made some improvements. So please do your best. And that goes for all of you here. All of the students nodded their heads. The headmaster stepped forward to address the students. The purpose of the Academy Field Day is to gauge the progress not only you as future ninjas have made but also to assess where your strongest and weakest points are and how we can work on strengthening where your weaknesses are. Those with weaknesses aren't fit to be ninjas, Sasuke remarked, they'll just get in my and everyone's way. Sakura-chan, Naruto remarked, what was that comment about Sasuke making Hokage before I do? Because I doubt that Jizan would name someone as cold and arrogant as him as his successor. Don't talk about Sasuke-kun like that, another girl said before Sakura could give a retort to Naruto. Everyone stop this petty argument and stay focused on the purpose of today's activities, the headmaster stated firmly. He waited until he had everyone's attention. Good, the headmaster said. Now, we'll start with taijutsu. Each of you will be given a spar partner, and both you and your sparring partner will demonstrate your taijutsu skills. No weapons, ninjutsu or genjutsu will be allowed during your taijutsu match. Seriously injuring anyone is not permitted. Disobedience to these rules will result in immediate disciplinary actions. After your taijutsu match, you'll be tested in the use of weapons. Your third test will be your ninjutsu test. Is there any questions? Are all this troublesome fights between classmates really necessary? Shikamaru asked boredly. At least show some enthusiasm in performing in front of your Hokage, Shikamaru, Mizuki said. Shikamaru simply shrugged. Next to him was Chuji, who was eating a bag of potato chips. Now we'll divide and pair each of you with your sparring opponents, Iruka said. First match, Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke grunted. Alright. Naruto cheered excitedly. I'm first to show Juzan how far I came in my training. The only thing you'll show is how far your training will crash you down into the ground on your face, Naruto. Kiba, age 9, mocked, causing everyone to start laughing at Naruto. Shut up, Naruto retorted. At least I know when to take showers so as to not smell like the pets you sleep with. Now everyone was laughing at Kiba, who was now fuming at Naruto. Why you? Kiba, that's enough. Iruka yelled. The same goes for you too, Naruto. Now Sasuke, Naruto, step forward and give each other the tradition shinobi greeting, a sign to show good sportsmanship and no hostility. Naruto and Sasuke both made their way to the front where the match was to be held. Naruto made the hand sign of friendship, but Sasuke gave no regard in doing likewise. He just looked at Naruto as someone who was inferior and beneath him. What's the matter, Sasuke? Naruto asked with annoyance, too high and mighty to follow directions? I'll only do so with someone who I consider my equal, Sasuke replied. You're not such a person, Naruto. You're right, team, Naruto remarked. I can never dream to equal or rival your selfish, undisciplined arrogance. Sasuke snarled at Naruto, who in turn snarled back at him. Show the dead last a thing or two, Sasuke-kun, Ino yelled. Don't take that crap from him, Sasuke-kun, Sakura yelled. Many of the other girls and even some of the boys were cheering Sasuke on to pummel Naruto. Hinata was the only one in the background cheering Naruto on, though not as audibly as everyone else who was cheering for Sasuke. Naruto turned and looked at Sasuke's fan club with disgust and irritation. Hiruzen sighed to himself seeing such displays before him. He knew Sasuke's behavior was a problem and clearly no progress was made in changing his character. Sasuke, Naruto, Iruka said, be professional about this before your Hokage. Now prepare to spar. Sasuke said nothing as he assumed his battle stance. Naruto stood there as though he knew of no stance to take. Everyone in the crowd expected to see a quick match, with Naruto as the obvious loser. Sadly, even Hiruzen admitted to himself that Naruto wasn't at Sasuke's level in many things in regards to being a fighter. But with regards to everything else, Sasuke failed when compared to Naruto. Ready, Iruka said, begin. As expected, Naruto charged head first towards Sasuke at a fast speed. He threw a quick right punch at Sasuke, which was easily avoided, as Sasuke sidestepped Naruto to the left. Predictable, Sasuke mocked as the maneuver caused Naruto to seemingly trip forward, making him appear like he was about to fall to the ground. Things changed, however, as Naruto turned on his right foot and swiftly brought and swung his left foot up, effectively catching Sasuke's face in his range as he, Sasuke, passed him by. Sasuke was sent spinning and sailing to the ground with a facial bruise and busted lip as Naruto managed to regain his balance and keep from falling to the ground. Everyone was left stunned and utterly speechless after seeing how Naruto within mere seconds made a fool out of the now dazed and humbled Sasuke, who was struggling to get back up while nursing the injury Naruto just inflicted on him. Did that just happen? Shikamaru, age 9, asked, too shocked to believe what he and everyone else saw. That's what I'm trying to believe, Chuji, age 9, remarked. He caught Sasuke completely off guard, Shino, age 9, commented, an outcome I was not expecting at the very least. It was a lucky shot, Ino replied in denial. There's no way Naruto could have hit Sasuke-kun that easily. It was just a case of extreme dumb luck. Regardless of what was being said, Hinata looked very happy and pleased that Naruto won the first match against Sasuke, though she never expected it to end so soon in Naruto's favor. First blood and round 1 goes to me, Sasuke team, Naruto said with a large grin. Ready for round 2? Sasuke, hot with anger by what just happened, got back up and spat blood to the floor. The pain from the assault was still biting where he was struck, with blood still trickling down from his busted lip. You're gonna regret that dope, Sasuke replied as they got back in his fighting stance. Ready when you are, Naruto said. Iruka began the next match between the two boys. Naruto and Sasuke engaged in combat again, but after 3 minutes it ended with Naruto being flipped and tossed down to the ground on his back with Sasuke standing over him. All of the girls, but Hinata cheered for Sasuke, while the guys laughed at Naruto. I told you it was dumb luck that Naruto won that time, Ino said. There's no way Naruto would have beaten Sasuke-kun that easily, another girl said. But Naruto-kun didn't take as long to win the first match with a single blow, Hinata thought out loud, which caught all of the students' attention, including Sasuke's. Sasuke was about to give a retort to Hinata when. That much is true, Hinata, Hiruzen spoke up, earning the attention of those hearing him. During the first match, Naruto gave the deceptive display that he was attacking foolhardy in recklessness. But from what we saw, Naruto's moves were clearly timed and calculated to the letter, totally catching Sasuke off guard. I'm led to believe that Naruto had it all planned out. Hearing that acknowledgement made Naruto's spirit soar the skies. Sandaime and Hinata both were giving him positive attention. But Sasuke came back and gave Naruto a good bout, Sandaime added. In the past surely Naruto would have lost easily to Sasuke. But from what I'm seeing, Naruto has truly came a long way and improved if Sasuke is being made to take Naruto serious. Everyone knew that Hiruzen wasn't saying those things just to stroke Naruto's ego, or to make the blonde look good in front of everyone. Sandaime was telling the truth. Turning to Naruto, Hiruzen said seriously, but don't in any way let what I said go to your head, Naruto. Of course I won't, Jizan, Naruto said as he stood back up. I'm just happy that you're proud of my improvements. Sasuke was listening and thinking about what the Sandaime was saying about Naruto. Naruto hid his improvements well enough to fool all of us, Sasuke thought, but still there's no way Naruto should have been able to still hit me and keep up with me, even with his improvements. Okay everyone, the headmaster said, we'll next move on to our next two opponents. The sparring sessions continued until all of students had their turns. Some of the matches ended in a draw while others either won or forfeited after being overpowered or outmatched. Good job everyone, Iruka said. Next up, weaponry. Each of you may select a weapon of choice, whether it's a kunai or shurikens. The students were led to the tables that held the mentioned weapons. After selecting their weapons of choice, the students were told that they would be taking turning attacking the human-shaped wooden dummy posts. Some were able to hit bullseyes while Sasuke managed to hit all directed areas on target dummy. Naruto came up next and with his first kunai, with a small portion of his chakra added, he aimed and threw it hard at the practice dummy, only for the kunai to be deeply embedded into the dummy's crotch. The males that saw this couldn't help but mentally put their hands over their crotch, some literally. You missed the objective area to strike Naruto, Iruka said while hiding the cringe that wanted to appear on his face. I know, Naruto replied, but at the very least I castrated him in the worst way. If that dummy was a real man, he'd die horribly and painfully. Iruka and the others couldn't argue against that, though none of them would want to die such an agonizing death. Next time aim for the heart or skull, Iruka said. It might help if you visualize an enemy in place of that dummy post. That was why I aimed between the legs in the first place, Naruto remarked. Iruka blinked and looked at Naruto again. What kind of enemy did he visualize, Iruka wondered. Later that day, after the students were allowed to take a break and go for lunch, they returned back to the training yard. All right everyone, Iruka said, we're now at the third and final part of today's event. Each of you will demonstrate one of your most effective or strongest ninjutsu. They can be those learned from the academy or from your respective clans. Keep in mind that this third event is not to be used as an opportunity to show anyone off. If your ninjutsu requires a target, one of our instructors will volunteer to be used. However, no fatal jutsus are to be used on anyone, am I clear? All of the students nodded. Naro Shikamaru, Iruka called out, please step forward and demonstrate a ninjutsu. Shikamaru shrugged with a bored expression and performed a henge, changing himself into the Hokage. I find today's events to be troublesome and a bother for all of us here, Shikamaru said, imitating Hiruzen's voice. I decree that you all can leave and go cloud watching for all I care. Naruto and the others started laughing and cracking up at Shikamaru's antics. Iruka was all but amused, though Hiruzen took it in good humor as a chuckle escaped his mouth. All right Shikamaru, Iruka said, you did good. Shikamaru dropped the henge and walked back to Chuji. Nice one Shikamaru, Chuji said. I'd have done the same but you beat me to the punch, Naruto added. I was just expressing how I feel at this point, Shikamaru replied. Most of the students performed one of the jutsus they learned at the academy. For Sakura, she performed Bunshin no Jutsu, and Ino performed one of her clan's jutsus and took control of one of the adults' bodies for a couple of seconds before returning back to her own body. After several students went, Sasuke went and took his turn. Alright Sasuke, Iruka instructed, please perform a ninjutsu of your choosing. Sasuke simply nodded without saying a word. Going over to one of the wooden target poles, Sasuke performed a few hand signs and fired a stream of fire from his mouth straight into the wooden pole, effectively setting it on fire. All of the girls cheered while Hinata, though not among the cheering girls, admitted that it was an impressive jutsu. The other boys were also impressed while Naruto just looked bored. Very good as always Sasuke, Iruka said, well done. That was nothing, Naruto stated. I created a powerful jutsu that will effectively take all of you out with a single blow, leaving all of you in heaps of your own blood. You're all talk Naruto, one of the students remarked. Quit wasting our time with your garbage. Don't believe me? Naruto shot back. Fine. Let me go next and I'll demonstrate my new creation. Fine, Iruka said with annoyance, just get on with it. Naruto hurried and stepped forward. All of you ninjas watch closely, and including Yujizan, Naruto said with a mischievous smile. From the smile alone, Hiruzen knew that Naruto was up something, and by something, he knew it was going to be a stunt he was going to regret allowing to take place. Hinata was curious as to what jutsu it was that was as lethal as Naruto declared that he created by himself. I bet Naruto screws up in just the attempt, Kiba joked. We all know he sucks at even creating a perfect bushin and doing a henge the right way. The students started laughing while Naruto ignored them. Alright now, Naruto said, prepared to be taken out. Gathering the required chakra, Naruto clasped his hands together and made a hand sign before bursting into a cloud of smoke. As the smoke cleared. Excuse me, said a new, very sweet and shy-like feminine voice in the clearing smoke. When the smoke cleared, it revealed an extremely beautiful long-haired blonde young woman with large breasts completely soaked with water, with the remaining smoke covering only parts of her breasts and genitals. The nude female asked shyly and nervously, I lost my clothes and I'm cold from the pouring rain. Would one of you men please be so kind as to use your body to keep me warm? The result was instantaneous and extremely effective. Males of various ages and ranks were blown back and off their feet from nasal blood loss, and the Hokage himself was no exception. True to his words, many of the ninjas were knocked out with blood coming out of their noses. Naruto dispelled the jutsu, seeing that it accomplished its designed purpose. Oiroku no jutsu. Naruto laughed. I warned you that my new jutsu is dangerous. I can effortlessly kill all of you right now in the comatose state I put all of you in. The girls weren't amused at all by the stunt Naruto pulled just a moment ago. But they were even angrier at how Naruto proved his point as he pulled out his kunai and acted as though he was slitting the throats of all of the knocked out males as he hurriedly passed them by, though he only gave each of them a small cut on their neck. Though Hinata was impressed that Naruto was able to knock out all of the ninjas around him, however, she too frowned at the method in which he did so. The girls were expecting the older kunoichis to lash out against Naruto for what he did, but were surprised that they didn't do anything to reprimand him. Aren't any of you kunoichis going to punish him? Ino screeched. That perverted stunt he pulled was very effective, one of the kunoichis interjected. It even knocked out the Hokage. Never knew the old man of his stature is as big a pervert as all the other men in Konoha, remarked another kunoichi. Girlfriend, where have you been? Whispered another kunoichi. There was a rumor years ago that he used to peek in the women's bathhouse with his pupil Jiraiya-sama. How come none of you are angry at Naruto? Sakura asked indignantly. He made us girls look bad. Exactly how ignorant and naive are you really about the world of ninja? Asked another kunoichi. I don't know what Iruka is teaching you girls, but the real life of the ninja isn't fun and games. Cunning, planning and deception are among the many tools ninjas must have in their arsenals, and sometimes we must use unfavorable methods to achieve and complete our assigned missions. And there are occasions when seduction and sexual incentives are among the tools that we ninjas have to use also at our advantage. Naruto clearly demonstrated his understanding of what I'm saying when he got the males and even the Hokage to drop their guards against him. I know he's the least favored boy in this village, but today's event shows that he holds promises. I'm more disturbed by the fact that Naruto can play the role of a slut so convincingly that all the guys can fall for him, Sakura remarked. Would that happen to include Sasuke, seeing that even he was caught off guard by Naruto's jutsu? The same kunoichi asked, pointing to Sasuke. Sakura and the girls turned and saw what the kunoichi was talking about. Looks like Naruto knows more about what kind of girl appeals to Sasuke than any of you girls do, the kunoichi joked as the other kunoichis laughed at the younger girls' expense, seeing that all of them continuously failed to get Sasuke to notice them. The girls, minus Hinata, didn't take too kindly to the implications of the kunoichi's words as they wondered what about themselves they were lacking in terms of feminine appeal. After another minute, the males gradually woke from their induced slumber. When they all did, they found that the females gave them all dirty looks. "You're all dead and disgraced," Ino barked. "I can't believe all of you fell for Naruto's perverted jutsu," Sakura added indignantly. "Hey," Naruto replied with a large grin, "it got the job done. So what do you think, Jizan? Ready to hand over that Hokage hat to me seeing that I took you and all of the male ninjas out with a single blow? If all of you take a moment to feel the cuts I put on your necks, it shows that if I were serious, you all be dead now." Hiruzen felt his pride deeply wounded from Naruto's latest stunt and remark. He knew that he and along with all the others was going to be the laughing stock of the entire village for who knew how long. Looking for a way to save face, Hiruzen said, "There's a lot more to being Hokage than just performing the strongest or the most effective jutsus to take out your enemies, Naruto. And it's not about getting your way all the time just because you possess governing power. As the Hokage, I serve the village, not the other way around." "What do you mean?" Naruto asked curiously. "As the Hokage," Hiruzen elaborated, "you must love, nurture, and protect the village and everyone living in it, young and old. And most importantly, you must be ready to lay down your life for the village at a moment's notice." "But isn't that what all of us ninjas are supposed to do in the first place, Jizan?" Naruto asked. Hiruzen nodded. "Yes, Naruto, that much is true. But as the Hokage, I have to take on weighty responsibilities that affect the lives of everyone living in the village. The ninjas and civilians of the village rely on the Hokage not only for leadership but guidance in preserving the morale and stability of our society while developing future adults like yourselves who will be the next generation to step up in preserving and protecting Konoha and the foundation it was built on." Naruto took a moment to take in everything Hiruzen was telling him. Though the others were listening also, Naruto felt that Sandaime was talking more to him than the others. "If I learned to do all that," Naruto asked, "would you step down as Hokage and let me take your place as your successor?" "Only time will tell, Naruto," Hiruzen said with a smile, "but you still have a long way to go in your maturity and development." "Just you wait," Naruto grinned, "I'll prove to be the best choice as the future Hokage." "We'll see," Hiruzen said as he turned to everyone else. "Everyone here did well today, and I'm happy to see all of the excellent progress you all have made. I hope all of you continue in your advancements and become the new leaves that will blossom and radiantly flare with the will of fire of our village." After the Hokage's concluding words, Iruka directed the students back into the building. As the Hokage was watching the youths go back into the building, he noticed how the kunoichis were whispering and snickering about how he managed to narrowly escape looking bad in front of the young female students after the stunt Naruto pulled. "It'll be a while before I hear the end of this," Hiruzen sighed with dismay. Later that day, everyone was going home for the day. About their day at the academy was over. None of the girls really said anything about what Naruto did and how even Sasuke had succumbed to Naruto's trap. The guys grumbled at how Naruto made them look bad while Shikamaru really didn't care more or less. Sasuke wasn't at all pleased at how Naruto twice caught him off guard, with the second stunt being worse than the first one. "How could I have slipped so badly and allowed the dobe to make a fool out of me twice in one day in front of everyone?" Sasuke wondered. He even managed to outwit and make a fool out of the Hokage and all of the other ninjas that were there today. He even showed that he had the advantage to kill all of us after he dash. "Sasuke-kun," a feminine voice called out him. Sasuke turned to see Sakura approaching him. "What do you want?" Sasuke asked. Catching up to him, Sakura said, "Don't feel bad about what Naruto did. You still did very good out there." "I don't need your concern," Sasuke said emotionlessly, "I'm fine." "That's good to hear," Sakura said. "I'm happy to see that Naruto's childish prank for a jutsu didn't get your spirits down." "I lost to Naruto twice today," Sasuke said with a hardened tone, "and the second time he showed that he had the chance not only to kill me but all of the other ninjas there. I see nothing childish about that." Sakura flinched at Sasuke's angered tone. "Leave me alone, Sakura," Sasuke said coldly as he walked off. "I have much to think about." Sakura watched as Sasuke left without so much as giving her a glance. "Hey Sakura-chan?" Naruto called out as he ran over to the pink-haired girl. "You busy? I was hoping that." Naruto was cut off when Sakura turned and tried to punch him in the head. Naruto ducked at the last second and backed away from her. "Hey!" Naruto asked defensively, "What did I do?" "What did you do?" Sakura barked. "You made Sasuke-kun look bad and messed up my chance to really talk to him." "I don't see how that's my fault," Naruto replied. "Sasuke's failures is his own fault. You can't blame me that I managed to draw blood from him twice. And I wasn't going to let him look good while everyone else was expecting me to look stupid and be laughed at. Whatever, Sakura retorted, still, you have a long way to go before you can begin dreaming of measuring up to Sasuke-kun. I don't see what's there to measure up to after seeing how low Sasuke fell for me as the hot girl I turned into, Naruto mocked. Maybe he's also seething at the very fact that I'm not actually that girl he passed out for. But on the plus side of things, I personally confirm beyond a shadow of a doubt that Sasuke team isn't gay. To be honest, I was starting to wonder seeing that he has never given any of you girls so much as a look. Sakura felt her feminine pride deeply wounded from Naruto's stinging comments. It wasn't long before Naruto felt bloodlust building up within Sakura. Naruto! Sakura roared as she chased after Naruto, who was now on the run from a raging Sakura. You're dead. Once outside, Naruto turned to the left and ran around the corner with Sakura in hot pursuit. Get back here, Naruto! Sakura yelled as she continued running after him and out of the academy grounds. A figure jumped down from one of the tree branches after seeing the two figures running from the academy grounds. That should keep her busy for a while, Naruto said to himself with a grin. I don't know how I learned Kage-Bunshin, but that jutsu sure comes in handy. Naruto found that for the past couple of months, memories of years of training, studying, research and new understanding have been appearing and integrating into his mind. He couldn't understand why this was happening to him, but from what he was experiencing, he loved what was happening to him and how he was slowly changing, but both mentally and physically. He found that he was smarter, faster, and stronger, and for some reason he couldn't understand, he enjoyed adult-oriented readings and had desires to peek in women's bathhouses, which he had to fight off. Hell, he even had a better understanding about his body and that of females. For a while, Naruto wondered if it was some kind of unknown bloodline limit that was awakening within him. He thought about telling the Hokage about it, but in the end he decided against it, and decided that the few who knew about his changes and newfound knowledge the better. Going back to the academy's training ground, Naruto returned back to the human-shaped wooden post he embedded the kunai in. After seeing that no one was around, Naruto, summoning chakra and the required strength and speed, performed a swing kick at the post, effectively breaking the post in half with splinter shards flying all over the place, with the main chunk of the post flying far from where it originally was until it hit the ground. Aowa, Naruto relaxed with a large smile on his face. That got the pent-up anger out of my system. Now for some well-deserved ramen. Naruto hurried out of the training ground and over to Ichiraku. While on the way, he pulled out his orange book and resumed where he left off at. A blush and perverted giggle escaped his mouth while reading his book and making his way to his next destination. Unknown to Naruto was that a female figure was watching him from the shadows behind the trees the entire time and was shocked by the display of power and strength Naruto demonstrated, including when he eluded and tricked Sakura into chancing after a Kage-Bunshin he created. Naruto-kun, Hinata wondered to herself, you're stronger and smarter than you let on. Why do you hide your real self from everyone? Could I ever be as strong as you? Hinata wondered this as she watched Naruto happily make his out to his next destination. Before long, Hinata-sama, a masculine voice called to her. The Hyuga heiress turned to see Niji, age 10, approaching her. It's time to return home, Niji said with a neutral tone. Your father wouldn't want you to be late for your juken lessons. Yes, Nizan, Hinata said. Truthfully, Hinata wasn't looking forward to her lessons, and her progress in her clan's juken wasn't manifesting in the least, much to her father's disappointment. Hanabi-sama, age 4, shows more potential than you, Hinata-sama, Niji remarked coldly. I don't see any reason for you to even bother to attempt to change what can't be changed about yourself. Niji's words pierced Hinata deeply. Normally she'd have given way to tears, but watching Naruto had always given her the needed courage and strength to keep trying as hard as he does, especially today's events. Without saying a word to Niji, she left and made her way home with him escorting her. While on her way, her mind drifted back to Naruto and everything she witnessed both with and without Naruto's notice. What she saw moments before Niji's arrival aroused an even deeper curiosity in Hinata about Naruto. She had to find out more about him that he sought to hide from everyone. A year later. Ever since the Academy Field Day, some at the Academy looked at Naruto, age 10, differently, while others looked at him suspiciously. He was still the same class clown with the lowest grades and worst student with problems performing the simplest Bushin no Jutsu and Kawarimi. Iruka sighed at how Naruto performing in class while thinking about what Hiruzen discussed with him some time ago. Flashback, a year ago. Iruka was on his way to the Hokage Tower after being summoned to report to the Hokage after his day at the Ninja Academy was over. He could only wonder what the Hokage wanted to talk with him about as he entered the building and made his way up the stairs to the floor of the Hokage's office. Upon arriving, he knocked on the door and waited for a reply. Yes, Hiruzen said from the other side of the door. It's me, Iruka, Iruka said. You summoned me to report to you after my day teaching the class was over. That I did, Hiruzen confirmed. Please come in. Iruka opened the door and stepped into the office, closing the door behind him after entering. The Hokage placed some tobacco into his pipe and lit it before taking a puff out of it and exhaling the smoke from his mouth. Iruka, Hiruzen said, do you know why I summoned you today? Not entirely, sir, Iruka said, but I'm sure that it would be a matter of importance. The Academy hosted the Field Day event as a means to gauge and critique the level and caliber of all of the future genins of your class. After everything we saw, tell me please what you think of your students' progress. From what they demonstrated, they collectively show tremendous promises, Iruka replied, some more than others. With regards to the latter part of your statement, Hiruzen asked, who do you believe shows the most promise in your class? Iruka thought about what Hiruzen was asking. From Uchiha Sasuke's performance and grades, Iruka said, he's well on his way on becoming Rookie of the Year by the time he graduates and becomes a genin. Many consider him a genius like Hyuga Niji, who's also well on his way on becoming Rookie of the Year of his class before Sasuke. I understand where you're coming from, Hiruzen replied before calmly taking a puff from his pipe and exhaling, but you didn't answer my question. So I'll ask you once again, who do you believe shows the most promise in your class? The Hokage's reply caught Iruka off guard. I thought I answered your question, sir, Iruka said. All you gave me was an assessment of Sasuke's academic skills, Hiruzen stated, not the answer to my question. But sir, Iruka said, with regards to every subject I cover and teach, Sasuke proves to be the top student of his class and shows more seriousness in his training, studying and practice. Not that I'm undermining the progress of my other students, but Sasuke stands out above his fellow classmates even without having an activated Sharingan. What's your assessment of Naruto's progress and overall performance? Hiruzen asked. He's my worst student, I'm sorry to say, Iruka replied with a sigh. His grades are the poorest, and he still has difficulty perform even the simplest Henji no Jutsu and Bushin no Jutsu properly. He spends much of his time pulling pranks, running and escaping from ninjas he victimizes with his pranks, sleeping in my class, and he barely does his homework correctly. In terms of the ideal student, Naruto and Sasuke are polar opposites. And what was your impression of Naruto and his performance during the Academy Field Day 2 weeks ago? Hiruzen asked. His winning the first match against Sasuke caught me, as well as everyone else, off guard, Iruka admitted. Some wanted to believe that it was an absolute fluke, but your detailed explanation silenced whatever argument some wanted to make against Naruto's performance. And that Oroku no Jutsu he used against us? Hiruzen asked. Iruka blushed and lowered his head in shame. My most shameful moment, Iruka replied. Some of the kunoichis won't let me and others hear the end of it. To be honest, I'd have thought that they of all the ninjas would have been the angriest at Naruto for that stunt he pulled on us. Instead, the complete opposite happened and they spoke of him in admiration. Even now they do. Because he did something that others including Sasuke would have failed to do at his age, Hiruzen stated, and he openly admitted that things would have been different if he were serious. Iruka thought about it, and that was when he realized where Hiruzen was going. He killed us, Iruka acknowledged, all of us, including you. Effortlessly, Hiruzen emphasized, that's the point I'm making, Iruka. Many believe Sasuke to be the most promising student of your class. But the Academy Field Day clearly showed otherwise. Naruto had it within his power to put all of us to death that day because he was clever enough to deceive us into dropping our guards without alerting us to what his motives were. It's embarrassing for me to even own up to the fact that I was taken out by a hentai jutsu in front of everyone before being killed by the user. Sasuke is said to have the highest grades in your class, yet he too was taken out and killed by your proclaimed worst student like all the others. The point I'm making to you, Iruka, is that academy grades do not measure a ninja's potential. Iruka saw where the Hokage was coming. From all this, Iruka, Hiruzen stated, I believe you ought to reassess how you're evaluating your students' abilities. Naruto may not have book smarts like Sakura or the highest grades like Sasuke, but from what I was told by the other kunoichis who were there during the Academy Field Day, they find that Naruto understands some of the more deeper principles of the way of the ninja with regards to cunning, deception, and using sexual incentives against the enemy. Iruka didn't say a word as he thought about what Hiruzen was saying. That is all, Iruka, Hiruzen said, taking a puff of his pipe. You're dismissed. End flashback, present day. Hey, Naruto shouted, Iruka-sensei. Iruka snapped out of his trance and returned back to reality. Oh, Iruka apologized, sorry. And you yell at me for spacing out in class, Naruto mocked. Practice what you preach, Iruka-sensei. Some in the class snickered at Naruto's remark to the now embarrassed Iruka. Though annoyed, Iruka said nothing to that remark. Whatever Iruka said, just go back to your seat. Naruto grinned and walked back up the stairs to his desk. As he was sitting down, Hinata was gazing over at him. Before she turned her attention back to the front of the class, she thought back to an incident that happened 3 months ago. 3 months ago. Hinata was leaving the academy and making her way home. Passing by some trees, she came to a halt when some older boys approached and blocked her path. Hey guys, look, the lead bully said, it's the Hyuga heiress. I bet she thinks she's better and above all of us, the second older boy said. That's not true, Hinata stuttered. I don't. Liar, the third boy shouted as he stepped over to her. You think that just because you belong to the Hyuga clan that you should be treated like royalty while looking down on us like peasants. Well, the lead bully said, I think we ought to teach this Hyuga some manners and respect. Get on your hands and knees and apologizes for your arrogance. But Hinata stuttered in her defense. I said get on your hands and knees, the lead bully yelled hotly. Frightened by the older boy's rage, Hinata did as she was told. Now apologize, the fourth bully ordered. I'm so sorry, Hinata managed. The lead bully went and pulled Hinata's head back by her hair. We can't hear you, the lead bully yelled, apologize properly. I'm sorry, Hinata cried with tears building up and falling from her eyes down her face. The lead bully didn't know what hit him when a fist came and punched hard in the back on his head, forcing him to lose consciousness momentarily before letting go of Hinata's hair, as he fell straight to the floor on his face. What? The third bully exclaimed back. They turned to see their attacker. Look what we have here, the second bully remarked. It's the failure and weakling Uzumaki Naruto. A failure and weakling? Naruto asked before pointing to the knocked out leader. Was I the one who got his fat ass knocked out? Shut up, the fourth bully shouted. You did that because you know in a straight fight you'd lose against him and us. And you guys who proclaim yourselves as future ninjas of Konoha show your strength by bullying younger girls, Naruto mocked with contempt. You guys are disgusting trash. In fact, none of you are even worth the toilet paper I wiped my ass with. The boys at that point were seething bloodlust toward Naruto. Now Naruto-kun, Hinata muttered weakly with worry for his safety. The bully's leader was now getting back up. As he did so, he was rubbed his now sore and throbbing bruise on the back on his head. Kid, the leader growled menacingly, you're gonna regret that. Make me, Naruto laughed, but you guys will have to catch me first. After all, I'm as sly as a fox. Naruto then turned and started running into the woods with the bullies chasing after him while forgetting about Hinata completely. Concerned for his safety, Hinata chased after them while trying to keep up with them. Before long she saw that the bullies lost sight of Naruto. Where did that little shit stain go? The leader said while he and his gang were scanning the area. Hinata looked around in search of Naruto, while keeping out of sight so not to draw attention to herself. Just as she was about to activate her Byakugan, she caught sight of a large oval object of some sort coming across the heights of the trees and into the location of the four bullies. One of the bullies looked up in time to see something falling and coming at them. What the hell? The second bully remarked. But the bullies reacted too late when the object crashed down and burst in the center of them, revealing to be a beehive. The enraged bees shot forth and swarmed around the four bullies by the many hundreds, unleashing painful stings after stings upon the bullies. The boys screamed from the excruciating pain as they tried to swat and beat the bees away, but that only served to anger the bees further as they continued to assault the bullies with their sharp stingers. They four boys soon ran as fast as they could back to Konoha with the bees continuously attacking them fiercely. Hinata watched the scene unfold until the screaming boys were out of sight and hearing range. That ought to teach those vermin disgrace to all ninjas a lesson, a voice said. Hinata looked up to see Naruto standing on one of the high tree branches. How did he get up there? Hinata wondered before she saw him jump to a lower branch on another tree and then another. A moment later he jumped down to the ground and walked over to Hinata. You okay? Naruto asked as he approached her. Hinata blushed redder as he decreased the gap between them and stood in front of her. Yes, Hinata said lowly. Hey, Naruto smiled, you don't have to be afraid of me. I rescued you from those bullies, remember? They won't be bothering you anymore. Thank you, Hinata said meekly and appreciatively. But won't they be coming after you though? They'll be too busy receiving medical attention after those bees are finished with them, Naruto grinned. Right now they're the least of my worries. Hinata let a few tears fall down her face. Why are you crying? Naruto asked. I'm sorry. I was too weak, Hinata cried. I couldn't hold my ground against those bullies. You're not weak, Hinata, Naruto assured. You were simply outnumbered by those older boys. It wasn't your fault at all. It was my fault, Hinata cried. I am too weak and too much of a coward to stand up for myself. Even my father and sister, and everyone in my family thinks I'm weak and useless. That isn't true, Naruto said with conviction as he braced and held Hinata by her shoulders, and don't ever believe that you are. A surprised Hinata looked at Naruto with teary eyes. Despite what happened today, Naruto continued, you came all the way out here following after those bullies who were chasing after me. You showed more concern for my well-being than your own. That's not something a weakling or a coward would do. You do have true courage deep within yourself, Hinata, and it's just dying to come out. I know it. Hinata couldn't believe what she was hearing, and from the very person she always admired and secretly watched in the shadows. Do you really believe that? Hinata asked with uncertainty. Of course I do, Naruto smiled as he released his hold on her shoulders. I have no reason to lie to a girl as pretty as you. Hinata's heart started racing and beating hard as she felt excitement filling her soul. He said I'm pretty. Hinata screamed happily in her mind. Naruto-kun thinks I'm pretty. You think I'm pretty? Hinata asked while desperately hoping she wasn't dreaming. I do, Naruto said. You're a pretty maiden with beautiful hair as serene and lavender as midnight, with lovely eyes as full and illustrious as the brightest of moons. You're like a gentle spring rabbit that moves ever so gracefully and elegantly through the meadows. He's singing poetry to me about me, Hinata thought dreamily. Naruto reached into his pocket and pulled out a clean cloth and used it to wipe the tears away from Hinata's face. Maidens like you shouldn't have reasons to cry, Naruto said, and if someone gives you one, I'll help you leave them out to dry. Databao. Hinata's reasons for her sadness and depression were gone and were replaced with happiness and optimism. Thank you for your kindness, Naruto-kun, Hinata said. No, Hinata, Naruto replied, I should be thanking you, Hinata. Now she had a confused look on her face. Thanking me for what? Hinata asked. For not revealing my true skills to the others and keeping what you know about me to yourself, Naruto said. I will admit that you have what it takes to be a true spy mistress. I couldn't believe that only recently I found out that you've been watching me all this time. Well, what are you talking about? Hinata asked nervously. Smiling at Hinata's behavior, Naruto continued as he stepped closer to Hinata. When I said that your hair is like midnight and your eyes are like the brightest of moons, I was referring to your habit of always watching me in the shadows, hiding behind trees, a building or something to keep you hidden from my sight just so you can watch me. Hinata found herself captivated and charmed by his words. You're not angry at me for spying on you? Hinata asked meekly and shyly. Why would I be angry? Naruto asked. I was alone in the dark while your moonlight eyes watched over and acknowledged me. Your acknowledgement of me encouraged me to keep going in spite of what everyone says of me, and for that I thank you. Naruto took Hinata by the hand and asked, Hinata, I don't want you hiding from me anymore. Would you like to become my friend? Hinata's heart again was racing and beating hard while seeing that Naruto was holding her by the hand. Looking into Naruto's eyes, she saw the sincerity in his question. It would mean so much having you as my friend, Hinata, Naruto said honestly. I have very few people I can call friends, and I would love very much so to call you my friend. So how about it, would you want to become my friend? Fighting back hard the urge to faint, with a blissful smile and blush on her face, Hinata answered, I'd love to become your friend. Naruto walked with her from the forest hand in hand back to the school where Hyuga was waiting and looking around for her. When Ko caught sight of them walking and talking together happily, he went over wanting to know where they went. Hinata explained that she went for a small walk with her new friend so that she could talk about things. The Hyuga heiress saw the look of somewhat disapproval on Ko's face in her choice in choosing Naruto of all people as a choice of association. Hinata-sama, Ko said, this boy isn't looked on fondly by the villagers, and knowing your father, he more than likely won't approve of your association with this boy. He's my friend, Hinata defended, my first friend in fact, and I won't let anyone take that away from me. Hinata held Naruto's hand tighter, and Naruto held her hand just as tight to give her moral support. Ko saw the look in Hinata's eyes and found a strength in them he hadn't seen before. If that's how you feel, Hinata-sama, Ko said, then I'll respect your decision and not interfere. Thank you, Hinata said, never releasing her hold on Naruto's hand. By the way, Hinata-sama, Ko asked, on my way here, I heard that 4 boys were admitted into the hospital for intensive care after being viciously attacked by swarms of bees. From what I heard, they said Naruto was responsible for throwing a beehive at them. Do you honestly think that Naruto-kun could carry and use a beehive as a weapon without being brutally attacked by the bees themselves? Hinata asked. When Ko thought about, he found what Hinata said logical. I see your point, Ko admitted, though some are willing to believe what the boys were saying. Those boys are bullies, Hinata interjected, and they were bullying me earlier today. Naruto-kun defended me and got those bullies away from me. How they later got ambushed by bees, I guess they were at the wrong place at the wrong time. Naruto-kun wasn't near them when they got attacked. He was with me when the attack took place. Ko nodded in acknowledgement of Hinata's words. All right then, Ko said, I believe you, Hinata-sama. But we best be on our way home now. Can Naruto-kun walk with us? Hinata asked. He's your friend Hinata-sama, Ko said, it's not a problem. Ko walked from behind as he watched Hinata walk hand in hand with Naruto. He couldn't remember the last time he had seen Hinata genuinely happy, smiling and giggling. When he turned to look at Naruto, he found that the boy was just as happy, no sense of malice and danger, as many claimed him to be. Though a prankster but not a threat. While walking together, Hinata saw how some parents were looking at both her and Naruto. Some were whispering while others sneered at them with disapproval. She looked and saw how Naruto was looking at everyone looking down at him. She held his hand tighter to reassure him. It's okay, Naruto-kun, Hinata said, don't pay them any mind. I'm your friend, remember? Smiling brightly, Naruto said, yeah. I didn't forget. The onlookers knew better than to try anything unless they wanted to feel the wrath of an angry Hyuga clan leader, Hinata's father. And seeing that the older Hyuga was allowing Hinata to walk with Naruto in the manner she was doing so gave the impression that Hayashi had no ill will toward Hinata and Naruto being together as friends. Some started wondering if this was so among all the other members of the Hyuga clan. Ko saw the looks on the villagers' faces and the whispering that was going on. He then saw one of the villagers approached him. How could you allow the child to walk hand in hand with that scorn to our society? A mother of two asked. Ko replied, who Hinata-sama chooses as her associate and friend is her choice. It's not my place to decide for her with whom she can and cannot be friends with. Certainly her father doesn't approve of this, the mother retorted. Ko replied, whether or not he does is none of your or anyone else's concern. Please cease from causing any more trouble for me in escorting Hinata-sama home. Her father is there waiting for our arrival. With that said, Ko went on his way with the two youths. The mother with a couple of onlookers were gaping at what she was told. They thought that Ko had a lot of nerve defending Naruto like that. Thank you, Hinata said. Ko smiled and nodded. End flashback, present time. Hayashi at first was somewhat reluctant about allowing Hinata to associate with Naruto, but not because he was a Jinchuriki, but because of Naruto's reputation of being a troublemaker and prankster. Ko vouched for Naruto and helped to persuade Hayashi in giving a chance Naruto and being Hinata's friend. Hayashi allowed it on the condition that Naruto doesn't do anything that would pose a threat to Hinata's safety, or do anything that would involve trouble for his daughter and mar the Hyuga name. Hinata, even much to her father's surprise, hugged her father in allowing her to be friends with Naruto. Since then, Hinata and Naruto were practically inseparable, and Hinata was never ashamed of being seen with the village pariah. Hinata, Irika called out, Hinata! Hinata snapped back to reality and turned to face the front of the class. Please refrain from daydreaming and pay attention to what I'm teaching, Irika said. Embarrassed, Hinata meekly apologized, sorry Irika-sensei. Having gotten that out of the way, Irika turned back to the chalkboard and resumed writing on it. Despite what she was told, Hinata managed to steal one last glance at Naruto, who looked to be writing something down on paper. Whatever it was that Naruto was writing, Hinata figured, had Naruto keenly focused on getting the details on point, more so than the lesson Irika was going over. During their lunch break, everyone was outside enjoying their food and conversing with their friends. As usual, Sasuke ate by himself while some of the girls sought to get his attention. I don't know what they see in him, Naruto said out loud while momentarily looking up from the book he was reading. Closing his book, he put it away and went over to Sasuke. Hinata followed from a short distance, not wanting to miss the chance to eat beside him. She was angry with herself for being late in arriving to eat with Naruto as she desired to. Yo Sasuke, Naruto called out, grabbing the Uchiha's attention, along with the girls around him. What do you want, Naruto? Ino asked. To ask Sasuke a question, Naruto replied, I wasn't aware that he couldn't speak for himself. Annoyed at Naruto's implication, Sasuke said, What do you want, do? And it better be fast. Just something I wanted to know, Naruto said. What's it like having all of these girls from our class always around you, constantly wanting your time and attention? Needlessly to say, The question caught Sasuke off guard. What does that matter to you? Sasuke asked. Curiosity, Naruto replied. I mean, what boy in our class wouldn't want to be in your shoes right now, and yet here it is that you're not flaunting it in all of the boys' faces that you're the attraction of all of these girls, and they're not. Many boys our age and perhaps older would be jealous. Like you, Sakura started, they don't have what Sasuke have. He's smart, handsome, cool, and can do feats that you guys can't do. He has a promising future as one of Konoha's greatest ninjas. And why do you girls fail to gain any acknowledgement from your so-called prince? Naruto asked. I mean, even I see that he has no interest in any of you. Shut up, one of the girls retorted. You're just a stupid kid who wished he was on Sasuke's level. Nah, Naruto said, Sasuke can have that all by himself. My question is, what kind of girl does your Sasuke really want, and why he doesn't give you girls such a look? My preference in none of your business, Dobe, Sasuke replied. I have no need to share anything about myself with you. Be that as it may, Sasuke, Naruto said, but I'm just tired of seeing these girls waste their time trying to gain your attention while not knowing what you seek in a female. So why don't you enlighten them, Naruto? Sasuke replied. You seem to know more about me than they do from what I'm hearing. That's just sad, Naruto mocked. The almighty Sasuke can't speak for himself and needs me to speak for him about what kind of girls would interest him. Sorry, girls, but if Sasuke isn't willing to speak for himself about his feminine preference, then it simply means that none of you are worth his time. The girls weren't happy about what Naruto was saying, but they couldn't help but see the truth in his words. Naruto-kun, Hinata said, gaining Naruto's attention, please don't start trouble for yourself. Besides, our lunch period is almost over. I'd like to eat with you if you'd let me. Sure, Naruto said, I think that would be great. Well, girls, I gotta go. You can have Sasuke if you still think he's worth your time and effort. Hinata let out a sigh of relief when Naruto agreed to eat with her. As they walked off, Sasuke thought about what Naruto said and asked in terms of what kind of girl would interest him. When he thought about it, he saw that Naruto was right and that the girls in their class always sought his time and attention. But when he thought more about it, she realized that one girl in their entire class never gave him so much as a look but only sought to be with Naruto instead. That girl, Sasuke contemplated, Hyuga Hinata. Unlike these annoying girls, she doesn't try to be around me and want of being with me. She's the heiress of the Hyuga clan and yet she seeks to be with the Dobe instead of me. Interesting, what's so good about Naruto that would draw Hinata to him? What makes him so special to her? Sasuke-kun, Sakura asked, are you okay? You spaced out there for a minute. It's nothing for you to worry about, Sasuke replied, just thinking about what Naruto said a moment ago. It got me thinking. Before any of the other girls could ask him anything further, Sasuke got up and walked off from the girls. He was walking off, he turned to look at both Naruto and Hinata. What could she possibly see in that Dobe? Sasuke wondered. Before his thought on the subject could go any further, Itachi's depart's words to him during the night of the Uchiha massacre came back to mind. Remembering Itachi's words on hate and having the power of the Manjiki Sharingan, Sasuke resolved himself to continue in his training to become stronger to defeat Itachi, yet deep behind that resolve was the interest that Hinata wasn't pursuing him like the other girls. Later that day. The day at the academy was over and all of the students were making their way home or were being picked up by someone. As often, Naruto was heading home by himself, thought by this time he was used to living and being alone. As Naruto was seemingly making his way home, Hinata looked and saw that the blonde pariah took out the same piece of paper from his pocket and began reviewing the contents he wrote into it. She wondered what it was that he wrote that in that paper that evidently was worth more of his time and listening to what Iruka was going over in class earlier today. As she was about to head over and approach Naruto, Hinata, a voice called out to her. Hinata turned and was surprised to see Sasuke of all people approaching her. Yes, Hinata asked respectfully. I have a question I would like to ask you, Sasuke said. What's so special about Naruto that makes him worth your time and attention? What do you mean? Hinata asked meekly. You clearly like to be around him, Sasuke said. Why do you wish to focus your time on the class clown who constantly gets himself into trouble with everyone? Hinata found that situation rather ironic considering what happening their lunch break. Naruto-kun isn't a bad person, Sasuke, Hinata defended, it's just his nature to give people something to laugh at. Even if it's at his own expense in terms of his reputation, Sasuke asked skeptically, he has the lowest grades in class, and he hardly pays attention in class. Wouldn't you want to be with someone of a more reputable standing with his peers and grown-ups? It was no secret to Hinata that many in Konoha didn't like Naruto for reasons she couldn't understand. When she had asked the grown-ups why, the reasons she got from them did everything but give her a legitimate explanation. It was among the reasons why she would choose to ignore those who would tell her to stay away from Naruto, like how many of the peers of her age group would. Naruto-kun has potential for great things, Hinata said. He just needs a chance and for people to believe in him. And Naruto-kun believes in me too. He thinks I'm strong and have potential despite my weaknesses. And those are the things that keep me going and trying my best to always improve. I'm sure if I believe in his words, I'll see improvements in myself for sure. But it's rather hypocritical of the dobe to say all those things to you, and yet he made little improvements in himself and his abilities, Sasuke replied. Naruto-kun isn't hypocritical, Hinata defended. The fact that he keeps trying despite his difficulties makes me believe in the things he tells me. No one else shows confidence in me, not even members of my own FA family. But Naruto-kun said it himself that I'm strong and that I'm. Hinata blushed as remembering Naruto's words about her. You're a pretty girl with beautiful hair as serene and lavender as midnight, with lovely eyes as full and illustrious as the brightest of moons. Sasuke's head tilted as he looked at Hinata questionably when her face turned hot red after she stopped talking for a moment. What is she thinking about? Sasuke wondered. Hey Hinata. Hinata snapped out of it with the blush slowly dying down off her face. Your face turned all red for a moment, Sasuke said. What were you thinking about? Hinata stuttered. Nothing. Anyway, at heart, Naruto-kun is a good person and I know he'll surpass everyone who thinks little of him. That's all I have to say for you to know. Sasuke's skeptic-looking face changed when he shot a grin at Hinata, but that grin wasn't one of cockiness but rather one of admiration. You're different from the other girls in class, Hinata, Sasuke complimented. How so? Hinata said. I'm sure there isn't much of a difference. There is, Sasuke interjected, and all the things you said just now prove that. You're not shallow and petty like the rest of those girls. They disgust me. But you're the kind of girl I respect and admire. You stand out from the rest of them. Thank you, I guess, Hinata replied as she tapped her two fingers together over and over again. Sasuke moved a little closer to Hinata. Tomorrow, Sasuke said, how about you? Hinata! Sasuke and Hinata turned to see Naruto making his over to them. Naruto-kun, Hinata smiled and greeted. Hinata, Naruto said with a toothy smile, I just remembered that I have a buy one get another large bowl of beef ramen free coupon from Ichiraku and I wanted to know if you'll join me. Hinata's face turned just as red as before. It's almost like he's asking me out on a date, Hinata thought to herself excitedly. How about it, Hinata, Naruto said, will you join me? Fighting the feeling to faint, Hinata mustered up her courage and replied, yes. Sweet, Naruto said as she took the blushing Hinata by the hand and led her away, then let's go. Sasuke watched as Naruto led Hinata away from him as they started on their way to Ichiraku. She's truly different from Sakura and the other girls, Sasuke thought. Whatever weakness she says she has, I doubt the dobe can offer her any real help other than offering her smooth and soothing words of comfort. What she needs is a strong and confident male figure beside her. Sasuke turned and walked off in the opposite direction. As he did so, Naruto turned to see Sasuke leaving and walking away from them. Almost as if it was sensed, Sasuke turned back to look straight at Naruto face to face. The Uchiha shot Naruto a smirk before Naruto returned it with a small sneer, as though he was reading Sasuke's thoughts and intentions. Is everything okay, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked with concern, seeing the looking on Naruto's face. Turning away from Sasuke, turned back to Hinata. I'm okay, Naruto assured, just making sure that Sasuke team isn't causing us trouble. You don't have to worry about him, Hinata now assured. He was just asking me a few questions about you, that's all. As if he doesn't know enough about me, Naruto remarked. He doesn't know you at all, Hinata replied. Ironically, he came asking me the same questions you asked him and the girls around him earlier during lunch period. After hearing me out, he said that I'm different from the other girls in class and that he respects me for that. Really now, Naruto remarked skeptically, the haughty Sasuke who thinks everyone else is beneath him says he respects you? That's surprising considering his selfish, undisciplined arrogance. During their walk, Hinata noticed that Naruto never released his hold on her hand. It almost felt as though she were on a date with him, considering that he is treating her out to eat, even if it was ramen at his favorite ramen stand. As she was walking with Naruto, something came to mind. Naruto-kun, Hinata asked, what was in that paper you were writing in while we were in class? You really seemed to be really into whatever it was you were writing down into that paper. Even after class you looked like you were still working on what you were putting down on that piece of paper. Was it something of importance? Oh, that, Naruto said as he released Hinata's hand and reached into his pocket to retrieve the folded paper. He opened the paper and showed it to Hinata. Her eyes widened upon seeing what it was that Naruto was putting onto that paper. "Do you like the picture I drew?" Naruto asked with a large toothy smile. The colored drawing Hinata was looking at was a picture of her as a meadow's spring rabbit peacefully grazing on berries on a clear, beautiful sunny day, with Naruto as a sly and playful fox leaping from the bushes about to pounce on her from behind. "I think it best describes us," Naruto remarked. "I have to agree," Hinata giggled. "Can I have this picture?" "It was meant to be a present for you in the first place, Hinata," Naruto said. "Thank you," Hinata said as she folded the paper back and placed it into her pocket. It would be among the special items from Naruto that she would always treasure. "I'm happy you like it," Naruto said. "I got more out of it than Irika-sensei's ever so boring lectures and history lessons." Naruto went and took Hinata's hand again as they continued on their way to Ichiraku. She smiled, feeling Naruto's hand in hers again. "You're different from the other girls in class, Hinata." Sasuke's words came back to her mind all of a sudden. "You're the kind of girl I respect. You stand out from the rest of them tomorrow. How about you?" Sasuke was obviously going to ask her something, but whatever it was, Naruto intervened and got her away from the Uchiha. She sensed that Naruto didn't like the attention Sasuke was giving her. But Hinata was sure that Sasuke didn't have such intentions in mind, at least that was what she wanted to believe. 8 months later. Hinata was sitting on a couch in Naruto's apartment. She arrived at his front door not an hour ago after Naruto got through cleaning and making sure everything was spick and span, and putting everything away before her arrival. When she saw how dirty his place was the first time she came by, she helped him clean, sweep and mop his apartment, and asked if he would keep it that way, especially when she came by. She told him that it would make her feel more comfortable being in his apartment when it was kept clean and smelling fresh. And Naruto, wanting to please his only female friend, made sure to always keep his apartment clean despite the slums his home was located. Hinata sat on the couch patiently after being invited by Naruto to come by for something he wanted to show her. "So Naruto-kun," Hinata asked, "what was it you wanted to show me?" "I'll show you," Naruto said, "but not here." Before Hinata could reply, Naruto grabbed and scooted her into his arms, carrying her bridal style. "Naruto-kun," Hinata said with a heavy blush on her face. With a small whirl of wind, Naruto teleported from his apartment with Hinata and into a more isolated section of the forest. "Shushin no Jutsu," Naruto grinned. "I finally got the hang of this jutsu. I can execute Shushin perfectly now." "That's great, Naruto-kun," Hinata congratulated. "But that's not what I wanted to show you," Naruto said as he set Hinata down on her bare feet, since she left her sandals back at his apartment when she took them off at his front door. Naruto too was barefooted and standing on the cool grass and dirt. "Then what was it?" Hinata asked. Grinning, Naruto took a few steps back and removed his black t-shirt, leaving him bare-chested in only his pants. This wasn't the first time Hinata seen Naruto without his shirt on, since there were occasions Naruto sparred with Hinata secretly without wearing his shirt. Putting his hands together, Naruto formed a complex hand seal and focused chakra into his body. A few short moments later, Hinata saw intricate glowing seal writings appear all over Naruto's body, from the crown on his head to the sole of his feet. At the center of his forehead, shoulders, back, the top of his hands, the center of his chest, and the top of his feet each had a spiral design with small complex writings around them. "What are those seal writings all over your body, Naruto-kun?" Hinata asked with an amazed and curious expression. "After 3 grueling months," Naruto said, "I finally perfected my Inryoku Fujin and Chakra Sokobuku Fujin." "Inryoku Fujin and Chakra Sokobuku Fujin," Hinata repeated. "That's right," Naruto confirmed. "They're special seals that increases the gravity force exerted on my body and restrain my chakra reserves as they grow bigger. They're far more advanced and more effective than wearing weights on your body, and I can adjust the amount of gravity exerted on me. This also helps to strengthen and increase and control my speed and chakra output." "That's wonderful, Naruto-kun," Hinata cheered. "I'm so happy for you." Hinata was very well aware of Naruto's awakening knowing seals and other complex jutsus. It was only a few months ago when Naruto decided to let her in on his unexplainable changes and improvements, and how he had been training himself alone to advance in whatever new information awakened inside his mind. Hinata had sworn to secrecy to never reveal what Naruto shared with her. She even went as far as to cut her palm and swear a blood oath in front of him as proof of her promise. "These seals will require a great deal of getting used to, as it restricts my movement with the added effort needed to even lift regular objects," Naruto said, "but in time, my body will adjust with each level difficulty increase." "How were you able to write those seals on your body?" Hinata asked. "Actually," Naruto explained, "these seals activate and spread all around my body from a central point, in the center of my chest, right in the area where my heart is located. But only a seal master could write and apply the Inryoku Fujin and Chakra Sokubuku Fujin to either oneself or another person. I see, Hinata said. So, Naruto asked? Hinata looked at him with a confused look. So what? How about it? Naruto asked. How about what? Hinata asked. How about I give you these seals? Naruto offered. It'll be a great asset for you. You want to give me the Inryoku Fujin and Chakra Sokubuku Fujin? Hinata asked. That's right, Naruto said as they reached into his pants pocket and retrieved an ink bottle and ink brush. I don't want you slowly getting stronger and faster. With these two seals, your strength, speed and chakra control and reserves will greatly increase faster than it would have through regular training. Do you really believe I can handle such seals? Hinata asked. Without a doubt, Naruto smiled. I want you to have what it takes to advance underneath everyone's nose. What do you mean? Hinata asked with a confused expression. No one can be aware of your true improvements, Naruto explained. I want you to act as though you're still a weak disappointment in everyone's eyes. But why? Hinata asked with a bit of a saddened tone. It's hard enough that father thinks more highly of Hanabi than of me as someone with promising potential. Why must I hide whatever improvements I make from him and everyone else? We're training to become ninjas, right? Naruto asked. Why yes, Hinata nodded. And isn't deception one of the major arts ninjas used as one of their primary weapons? Naruto asked. It is, Hinata agreed. That's why I hide my true abilities from everyone else but you, of course, Naruto explained. I play the part of the goofy, troublemaking prankster and dead last of our class. In all this, Sasuke, having the top grades in everything in our class, is viewed by everyone as the one with the most promising potential to become the strongest of all of us. He draws all the attention away from me. But isn't that what we want to aspire to, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked, to become stronger and surpass our limitations? Didn't you say that your dream is to become Hokage? It is, Naruto said, among other things. But to reveal our true power and abilities too earlier on in our development, and demonstrating in front of everyone what we can truly do like how Sasuke does is dangerous. Keep in mind, Hinata-chan, that not everyone in Konoha is our friend. We can never know who's an ally or spy until it's too late, and by then they might already gained a lot of information on us and our abilities. And through this, they can develop ways to counter us and relay this to whatever enemies we have. It almost sounds like you're using Sasuke as your personal decoy, Hinata remarked. Not that I think you are. The fewer enemies we have that knows what our abilities are, the better, Naruto replied. Plus I don't use people, just their arrogance. If I were to follow this plan of yours, Hinata asked, when would we be allowed to show our true power and abilities? When it truly calls for it, Naruto answered, but we would have to be careful when discerning how much we want to reveal about our true selves. Remember, the fewer that's known about us, the better we can catch our enemies off guard when or should they try to attack or ambush us. Hinata took a moment to contemplate on Naruto's words. After giving his words careful consideration, she saw that he made a lot of sense. You really are sly fox, Hinata smiled. And you're the ever-gentle spring rabbit that knows when to hide and show her sharp teeth, Naruto replied. So how about it, Hinata-chan? Are you willing to go along with my plan for us? Hinata nodded. Great, Naruto said before opening the ink bottle and putting the ink brush into the bottle. Now, Hinata-chan, I need for you lift, and took off your shirt and... Take off my shirt. Hinata stuttered with shocked and a huge blush on her face. You can't be serious. I won't lie to you, Hinata, Naruto sighed. In order to give you these two seals, I must write them between your breasts and activate them. Couldn't there be another way to do this? Hinata asked, feeling embarrassed that she would have to take off her shirt in front of Naruto. Unless we know of a master-class seal mistress, then no, Naruto remarked, and even if we did, it would raise two questions about how I acquired these seals and why we're employing her to place them on you. But why between my breasts? Hinata asked with the blush never leaving her face. Because that's where the source of the Inryoku Fujin and Chakra Sokubuku Fujin were designed to originate, near the heart. Your heart is what will be used to empower the two seals. So long your heart beats, the Inryoku Fujin and Chakra Sokubuku Fujin will always work and your increase of chakra will add to its strength. But you can control how much chakra you want to put into the seals or take out. That was where I placed the two seals on my own body. But I won't force this on you if you feel too embarrassed to go through with this. It's ultimately up to you. Hinata thought about what Naruto was saying. It wasn't like he was telling her to take off all of her clothes and stand naked in front of him. It's okay if you don't feel comfortable about what placing the seal on you entails, Naruto assured. In fact, we can forget about And no, Hinata interjected, I'll do it. Do you really want to? Naruto asked sincerely. Like I said, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. Gulping, Hinata nervously reached for the bottom of her shirt, and slowly pulled it up off her, leaving her barefooted in her pants. Hinata looked to see Naruto gawking at her, and holding his bleeding nose with a napkin while fighting the perverted smile and giggles that were begging to come out. Naruto-kun is staring at me with those eyes of his, Hinata thought, though part of her felt some measures of feminine satisfaction and excitement that she was developing into someone desirous. Hinata-chan's father would seek my immediate execution if he were to see or learn of this, Naruto thought, though seeing Hinata-chan like this will fuel my wet dreams and fantasies for weeks. Pushing those thoughts deep behind his mind, Naruto returned his mind back to his objective. Now Hinata-chan, Naruto instructed, I'll need you to lie on your back on your shirt like a mat so I can first write the seal outlines between your breasts. I do wonder why we can't do this back in your place, Naruto-kun, Hinata said. Ever since that incident when I knocked out all of those would-be ninjas and all of the other ninjas and the Hokage simultaneously with my Oiroku no Jutsu during our academy field day, Naruto explained, I'd been put under a magnifying glass with the Hokage and several others keeping an eye on me and watching my movements. I know that they're suspicious of me and my true potential. And if one of them were to see you undressed halfway in my apartment, looked at himself, and with me still being shirtless, and while not fully knowing what we were discussing, we would have a most difficult time explaining to the Hokage and your father what we were doing and what we were not about to engage in. Hinata's face burned a sanguine red when the implications of Naruto's words came at full force. She almost passed out from realization where Naruto was going with what he was saying, and if she was honest with herself, the idea of getting caught in the forest as they were right now kind of excited her. I see your point, Naruto-kun, Hinata agreed before she lied on her front on her shirt. Naruto went over to her and prepared to place the seals on her as he knelt down next to her at her right. Bear with me on this, Naruto requested, this process will take a while, but not all day. Taking the ink brush, Naruto started writing the outline of the seals around the designated area on her body. Hinata giggled, that tickles Naruto-kun. Glad to see no expression of discomfort on your face, Naruto grinned back at her. It took another 33 minutes until Naruto was done with the intricate outlining of the Inryoku Fujin. When that was done, he carefully began filling in the outlining of the seal with ink and made sure not to miss a spot or drop ink in the wrong region of the seal. After another 15 minutes, Naruto was done with that task. Alright Hinata-chan, Naruto said as he cleaned and put the ink brush and bottle away, now for the chakra sokubaku Fujin. It wasn't until 45 minutes when Naruto was done writing and drawing the second seal around the first one. Now Naruto said, I'm going to finalize and activate the seals simultaneously. Naruto gave the ink several minutes to dry first. After seals dried, he gathered the required amount of chakra before performing a set of complex hand signs and then placing his right hand on spot where the seals were. Hinata's face burned dark red upon seeing where Naruto's hand was. Naruto-kun is touching my breasts, Hinata screamed in both shock and excitement. Fuin Jutsu, Seigo Fujin, Naruto said as he sent chakra from his hand and into the seals to activate them. Hinata cringed when she suddenly felt pain traveling all around her body as seal writings start appearing and spreading all around her body and head. What is this? Hinata managed to say, why does this hurt so much? It's part of the integration process, Naruto said. The two seals are spread all around your body and chakra coils as your body is being forced to adjust and adapt to the new seals. You never said it would hurt this much, Hinata retorted. I know, Naruto admitted, sorry for keeping that bit of information from you. But I figured that the idea of immense pain would shy you away from accepting having these seals placed on you. That's not fair, Hinata remarked as she winced and cringed from the pain. No, it wasn't, Naruto admitted, but you'll thank me later for this. 2 minutes later, the seal disappeared from sight into Hinata's body. When that was done, the immense pain Hinata felt was completely gone, although she felt some heaviness and restraint with her body and chakra coils now. I feel better now, Hinata said, but it's difficult to even move right. That's your body responding to the adaptation of the force now placed around your body, Naruto said. The seals are now activated. You're currently on level 1 on both seals. Naruto stood back up and helped Hinata stand back on her feet. What level are you currently on? Hinata asked. Level 2.5, Naruto replied. Level 1 was too light for me. But it's still difficult moving in my current level, but I try not to show it too much. Naruto reached down and retrieved Hinata's shirt. I think you better put this back on, Hinata-chan, Naruto said. You flashed me enough for the day. Hinata's face turned red again at what Naruto was implying after giving her back her shirt. I'm not the kind of girl, Naruto-kun, Hinata chided Naruto. But I'm sure you enjoyed it, Naruto teased. I know I. You're not planning on telling, are you? Hinata asked worriedly. Hell no, Naruto replied, no one else needs to know. This was our private and sacred bonding moment. Our private and sacred bonding moment, Hinata repeated. That's right, Naruto said, I know I was only teasing you earlier, but I took what I did very seriously. Those seals were gifts I shared with you as my closest friend. Naruto reached out and took Hinata's right hand and placed it on his chest as he placed his right hand between her exposed breasts. Both youths were feeling each other's heartbeats. You feel that, Hinata-chan, Naruto said, that's the beats of our hearts dancing together harmoniously. We linked our hearts together through the use of these very seals. Again, Hinata was captivated by Naruto's metaphoric and poetic character. Yes, Hinata said with a bright smile, our hearts are linked together harmoniously. Removing his hand off her, Naruto allowed her to put her shirt back on as he placed his own shirt back on. When they were done, Naruto scooped her off her feet and carried her in his arms bridal style. Here we go, Naruto said as he shushed back to his apartment and back in his living room. We're back, Naruto said, stating the obvious. I'm sure you're thirsty and hungry from that experience. How about some tea and frosted cinnamon rolls? Hinata nodded her head. I'd love that very much. Hinata and Naruto spent the rest of the day talking and relating stories to each other. The Hyuga heiress laughed at some of the things Naruto told her with regards to the latest jokes and pranks he pulled on his unsuspecting victims, some of them Jounin and Umbun ninjas. Pretty much, Hinata had a great time with Naruto. A week later. It was another typical day at the academy, almost typical since many students and teachers noticed that Hinata became rather clumsy and stumbling in her walking all of a suddenly for the couple of days. True to Naruto's words, she was having difficulty adjusting to the effects of the two seals and she felt more tired than normal as a result. When asked why by her teachers, Hinata said that she had been exerting herself harder in her training in order to improve. While the teachers approved of her wanting to improve, they told her that she was only doing more harm to herself by overworking herself and not taking the required amount of rest needed. Regardless, Naruto was there to give her the needed support. Meanwhile in class, Hinata was doing all she could to focus on Irika's lecture. But frequently her mind would drift and replay the event that took place between her and Naruto a week ago. Whenever she recalled how she stood shirtless in front of Naruto, she giggled and blushed uncontrollably. That, of course, didn't go unnoticed by some in the class, especially Ino. That look, Ino said lowly to herself, that giggle, and the way she's irregularly blushing. Ino then grinned mischievously. Hinata obviously did something naughty. Later that day, Hinata was outside sitting at one of the tables she reserved for both herself and Naruto. It was now everyone's lunch break and Naruto was soon to arrive. As she was waiting, Ino approached her. Hey Hinata, Ino said as she came and sat next to the Hyuga heiress, you feeling alright? Hinata was surprised that Ino came to talk with her. The blonde-haired girl took out her lunch and placed it on the table. I'm fine, thank you, Hinata replied. Smiling, Ino continued, so spill it. Spill what? Hinata asked with a confused look. Why you were blushing and giggling in class while taking peeks at Naruto here and there, Ino replied with a smile. Obviously, something happened, something naughty you did. I'm sure it involves Naruto. What are you talking KNG about? Hinata stuttered and gulped, getting very nervous and fearful about the fact that Ino was on to her. You can tell me, Ino persisted as she started eating her lunch. It's just talk between us girls. I want to hear what happened. Ino was notorious for gossip and was always trying to find the latest on anyone and anything. And she was also notorious for spread the latest news and rumors about anyone. There is no nothing to say, Ino-san, Hinata stuttered, desperately hoping that would get Ino off her back. Nothing happened. Simon, Ino insisted between bites of her lunch, don't be a spoiled sport. I know you did something you don't want others to know. If you know that for a fact, a voice said, then you're best to leave Hinata alone. Both girls turned to see Sasuke standing behind them with his own lunch in hand. Sasuke-kun, Ino greeted. Hinata evidently doesn't wish to discuss her business with you, Sasuke said, so why do you just let her be? Ino felt disappointed that she would get the latest info from Hinata, but she placed her wanting to gain Sasuke's favor as a priority over her want for hearing the latest gossip. Alright Sasuke-kun, Ino chirped, whatever you say. Sasuke was over and sat next to Hinata at her left while Ino was sitting by Hinata at her right. He set his own lunch down and started eating. It's okay to eat now, Hinata, Sasuke said. There's no need to wait for Naruto while I'm here. From a distance not too far from where Hinata, Ino and Sasuke were, Shikamaru and Chuji were watching the scene from another table. That Sasuke is proving to be a real troublesome person, Shikamaru said, more than usual. How does that come off as a surprise, Chuji remarked. Sasuke's been cold, harsh, and callous since his clan's extermination by Itachi's hands, Shikamaru said. His traumatizing experience turned him into a completely different person since that day. What made him suddenly want to be friendly with Hinata for these past couple of months is the troublesome part. Why is that, Chuji asked. Hinata obviously don't pay attention to Sasuke as heavily as all the other girls do, Shikamaru elaborated. She doesn't pester him for dates, nor does Hinata try to get his attention in any flirtatious or romantic way. She focuses more in her studying and training as a future ninja with no objective to prove anything to Sasuke. You suppose those factors could be the reason why Sasuke started to take an interest in Hinata, Chuji asked. Much to the other girls' dismay, Shikamaru said as his eyes caught sight of someone approaching the table Hinata was sitting at, and to Naruto's irritation. Naruto was making his way to the table Hinata was sitting at. He was annoyed enough that Iruka held him in class longer than he wanted because of some bothersome questions Iruka wanted to ask him concerning his study and training habits. And seeing Sasuke sitting with Hinata didn't help things either. He's doing it again, Naruto grumbled in his mind as he saw Sasuke making conversation with Hinata. It wasn't like Naruto didn't want Hinata to eat or speak to anyone while he wasn't around, since she was free to do what she felt comfortable doing. Nor did Naruto ever try to control when or with whom she could eat or talk to. But Sasuke's ulterior motives were what irritated Naruto. Collecting himself together and not letting emotions cloud his judgment, Naruto calmly approached the table and... Hinata-chan, Naruto called out. The trio at the table turned to see Naruto approaching them with a cheesy grin on his face. Naruto-kun, Hinata greeted, obviously happy and relieved to see him. What took you? Baka Iruka-sensei, Naruto replied. As if his lectures weren't bad enough, he had me stay longer for more ridiculous questions I didn't feel like answering. Naruto saw that both sides of Hinata were occupied by Ino and Sasuke, and he knew that neither would get up nor leave if asked them to. And he didn't want to give the wrong impression by asking Hinata to come with him to another table away from Ino and Sasuke. Dobe, Sasuke remarked, quit being a bother by not standing around us all day like a wooden statue. Ignoring Sasuke, Naruto went over and sat at the other side of the table facing Hinata. I think sitting at this side of the table is better, Naruto said. While you two are eating with nothing more but my greatness to look at, I get the privilege of looking straight at Hinata-chan's full moonlight eyes as much as I want. Naruto-kun, Hinata giggled and blushed with her hands on her cheeks. Ino snickered at the scene, loving the juicy gossip she could spread from what she was hearing and watching firsthand. Sasuke wasn't at all amused as his conversation with Hinata was cut off by Naruto's presence. I was talking to Hinata before you interrupted, Dobe, Sasuke said. Really, Naruto replied as he started eating. Well then, if she feels like whatever you have to say is of any importance, then I won't interfere. Not giving Naruto any retort, Sasuke turned his attention back to Hinata. Like I was saying, Sasuke continued, your kunai and shuriken throwing techniques have been rather sluggish lately, and your endurance in our practice sessions with the other senseis have been below your normal results. I'm curious to know what happened to cause your decrease in stamina and output. Ino wasn't at all surprised by Sasuke's demeanor around Hinata, as he showed more interest in the Hyuga heiress than any other female. Naruto ate and stayed quiet, wanting to see how things were going to play out, and where Sasuke was aiming the intentions of his questions. It's not that my stamina and output decreased, Sasuke, Hinata said, it's just that my new form of training started taking a toll on my body lately. It's realistically to be expected when we seek to adapt to new methods of training and improving to become stronger than before, yes? Sasuke nodding in agreement. It is. I too push myself as hard as I can, trying to go beyond my own limitations and reach new plateaus. Clearly we have something in common. Perhaps we can practice and spar together from time to time. I accept the offer of sparring with you, Naruto interjected. I've been meaning to put you in your place for some time now, team. Oh, this is getting good, Ino chuckled in her mind at the scene unfolding. Annoyed, Sasuke remarked, I wasn't intending that I practice and spar with you, Dobe, and I never invited you into our conversation. How about we allow Hinata-chan to decide if I can join these spar sessions or not, Naruto suggested. That ought to be fair enough, wouldn't you say? I was the one who was extending the invitation out to her, Sasuke replied, and I'm sure Hinata can handle being and spending her time with me without you around her all the time. Besides, it would be refreshing for me to be around a female future ninja who's more concerned about her career as a kunoichi than how she looks like in the mirror. Such a kunoichi would prove to be a true asset and partner to me in the long run. Naruto saw what Sasuke was doing and it was really pissing him off. Is that right? Naruto remarked as he stood up from the table. You're looking for such a kunoichi, yes? Sasuke stood up and was about to give Naruto a retort when... Hey everyone, Naruto shouted so everyone could hear him. Sasuke is lonely and looking for a female partner to spar with right now and later join him as his long-term partner. Is there no girl available who can answer his cries to satisfy his needs and end his loneliness? Much to Sasuke's dread, all of the girls, including Sakura and Ino obviously, were in hearing range when they heard Naruto's declaration. Sasuke-kun wants a long-term female partner, one of the girls exclaimed excitedly. I'm that girl, another girl proclaimed. The hell you are, Sakura retorted before she and all of other girls ran up to Sasuke begging him to choose them as his sparring partner. In the confusion, Naruto appeared and grabbed Hinata's hand and ran off with her, leaving Sasuke alone to deal with the large crowd of girls pleading for his time and attention. Damn you, Naruto, Sasuke cursed as he lost sight of Hinata and Naruto. Meanwhile, Shikamaru, Chuji, Kiba and Shino were watching the scene from another table. They had been doing so the entire time. You got to admire the way Naruto deals with Sasuke, Kiba laughed with Akamaru settle inside his jacket, it's quite entertaining. Somehow I doubt we'll see this issue between Naruto and Sasuke end soon, if peacefully, Shino added. They clearly have eyes on the same girl, Chuji said as he partook of his bag of potato chips. Troublesome, Shikamaru remarked, the top student competing against the worst student over a girl in class. Honestly, I don't see this ending peacefully. As much as Kiba, Chuji and Shino didn't want to admit, but they had to agree with Shikamaru's conclusion. Elsewhere, Naruto was laughing his ass off as he shushed into a secluded training ground with Hinata at the other side of the academy. That was an insane stunt you pulled, Naruto-kun, Hinata giggled. Serves that jerk right, Naruto remarked, he ought to look for his own sparring partner instead of trying to steal somebody else's. While Hinata wasn't Naruto's official girlfriend, she wasn't blind to see that Naruto would get jealous when another guy would try to get her attention in a manner that would set off red flags in Naruto's head. Well, Naruto-kun, Hinata suggested, since we're here and alone, how about we? Attention everyone, the announcer said from the loudspeaker, attention everyone. Lunch break is over. Please clean up and return back to your class. Thank you. So much for whatever it was you wanted us to do with our remaining time, Naruto said. It's all right, Hinata assured, I was only suggesting a little exercise to help me adjust to these new seals. It's still difficult adapting to them. Don't worry, Hinata-chan, Naruto assured, with me at your side, you'll surpass whatever hindrance you have and then some. Databao. Hinata smiled brightly as Naruto took hold of her hand and walked back into the academy building with her. Naruto-kun, Hinata asked. Yeah, Naruto replied. Would you like to become my long-term partner? Hinata asked. We already are, Naruto grinned, remember what I said last week? Our hearts are linked and beat harmoniously as one. Hinata giggled and replied, yes, I remember our private and sacred bonding moment, Naruto-kun. And I'll always treasure it. 1 year and 4 months later, at the Hyuga Manor. Hinata, age 12, was on her hands and knees with Hanabi, age 7, standing before her. Standing to the side by the wall were Hayashi and Ko. The Hyuga clan leader shook his head with his eyes closed with feelings of disappointment at Hinata's repeated defeat and failure to topple Hanabi in a one-on-one spar, again. That's enough for the day, Hayashi said as he turned and left the dojo, leaving his 2 daughters and Ko behind. Hinata was looking down at the floor with Hanabi walking toward her. The younger of the 2 stopped and looked down at Hinata. Nei-san, Hanabi said, your performance today was far less than what I expected out of our clan heiress. You were even slower and sluggish than before. It's shameful that even I could beat you in a match. Niji, age 13, would simply crush you. Saying nothing further, Hanabi left the dojo and followed after her father. Ko went over to console Hinata. Don't let what they said get to you, Hinata-sama, Ko comforted. I know you have potential to do better and improve. How can I? Hinata cried teary-eyed. You just don't have the ability to use our clan's juken. No one in our clan learned the juken style overnight, Hinata-sama, Ko said. It'll just require more time and effort for you to adjust to our clan fighting style. I'm confident that you'll become better in time. Do you, Hinata sniffled, really believe that? I do, Hinata-sama, Ko said. A knock came from the door. Hinata-chan, a voice called from behind the door, are you in there? Naruto-kun, age 12, Hinata said with her mood gradually changing from a sad one to a happier one. It always amazed Ko how Naruto's presence always brought a smile to Hinata's face regardless of whatever mood she was in. I was told by Hanabi that you were in the dojo, Naruto said. Are you able to come and hang out with me today? Hinata-sama will have to clean herself up first, Ko suggested. You'll have to wait until then. Not a problem, Naruto said from outside. I'll meet you in the front when you're done, Hinata-chan. Turning to the heiress, Ko said, you could use a break, Hinata-sama. Go and get yourself cleaned up. Your friend is waiting for you. Smiling, Hinata got up and hurried out of the dojo to get herself cleaned and ready to go. Meanwhile, Naruto was waiting patiently for Hinata's arrival outside the house. After another 15 minutes, Hinata appeared through the door. Hinata-chan, Naruto smiled brightly, you made it. For a moment there I thought I'd have to come and retrieve you personally. Hinata giggled, not that I'd mind you coming looking for me, but I don't think the others would approve of that. Like that would stop me, Naruto remarked. No, Hinata giggled, most likely not. Taking hold of her hand, Naruto led Hinata away. Though Naruto held Hinata's hands many times before, it was amazing that she would blush every time his hand entwined with hers. Once outside the Hyuga Manor and out of hearing and seeing range, Hinata relaxed more and dropped her mask. Meanwhile, at the Hyuga Manor, Hayashi was sitting in his private study sipping his cup of tea. He sighed to himself as he thought about how poorly Hinata did in her spar session with Hanabi. I know Hinata can do better, Hayashi thought to himself, but so much of her mother's kind and gentle spirit lives within her. As much as I don't want to believe this, but some of that gentleness is proving to be a real hindrance to Hinata's development. A knock soon came from the front of his private study. Yes, Hayashi asked. May I come in, Hayashi-sama? Ko requested. You may, Hayashi granted. Ko entered Hayashi's study and slid the door close behind him. Is there something you need? Hayashi asked as he looked up at the cadet branch member. Ko went over to Hayashi and knelt down on mat in front of the Hayashi's table. If I may speak freely, Hayashi-sama, Ko requested, I wish to discuss Hinata-sama's progress in our clan's jukin. Hayashi sighed to himself as he set his cup of tea down on the polished wooden table. This isn't the first time you approached me about my elder daughter's failure to quickly learn our clan's prized jutsus, Hayashi pointed out, and I'm very well aware of Hinata's current handicap. Her handicap, Ko repeated in a confused tone. What handicap is this? Hayashi paused for a minute and spoke again. I hate to have to say this, I believe my daughter's handicap stems from her inheriting her mother's gentle characteristics. From what I've observed, her behavior is very much like my late wife's, who herself didn't manifest much of the stern Hyuga mannerism. Hinata's kind spirit is the factor that's keeping her back from giving her all in fear of hurting anyone. The elders may argue that such behavior is unfitting for any heiress, Ko replied. There have been rumors that they may recommend that Hinata-sama be. They will recommend nothing concerning any of my two daughters without my approval, Hayashi said with a hardened tone. Hinata still has time to improve in spite of Hanabi's faster progression. I will say though that it's most disappointing for me to see that Hanabi, who's 5 years her junior, is more adept to our clan's prized jutsus than my elder daughter. I may have to recommend requesting Yuhi Kurenai-san to be Hyanta's trainer and eventual sensei. Hopefully, she might succeed at getting my daughter to improve in one way or another. Ko sighed lowly to himself, being aware who Kurenai was. From what he heard of the Genjutsu mistress, she was an ice queen recently promoted from Chunin to Jounin who apparently developed a form of maternal spirit for Hinata after spending some time with young heiress. This maternal fondness developed sometime after Hinata's mother's untimely death due to sickness. A/N. I don't know what really happened to Hayashi's wife. The manga never explained it, so I'm just making it up as I go. Maybe this Kurenai will succeed where the rest of us have failed, Ko figured. Excuse me, Hayashi-sama. I will depart from you now. Hayashi simply nodded as Ko turned and exited Hayashi's private study office. He walked and made his way to the main entrance of the Hyuga Manor when he caught sight of Sasuke approaching the manor. Sasuke stopped at the main entrance when he saw Ko making his way over to him. Sasuke-san, Ko greeted, what brings you here? I was in the neighborhood when I decided to see if Hinata was available to talk to, Sasuke replied. I'm sorry, Sasuke-san, Ko apologized, but Hinata-sama stepped out a while ago. I see, Sasuke said with disappointment in his tone. Do you know where she went? I'm afraid I do not, Ko replied. I'm sorry I can't be of further help. Sasuke grunted before turning and walking off away from the main entrance. Ko knew that this wasn't Sasuke's first visit to the manor, as he came by before. Though Hinata was willing to speak with him, she always gave excuses as to why she couldn't spend the day hanging out with him in the village, though she would so do in a heartbeat with Naruto. Ko saw that Hinata didn't have the same interest in Sasuke as she does for Naruto, but it was clear that Sasuke had that particular interest in the Hyuga heiress. It was true that the Hyuga held no ill will toward the last Uchiha. However, as a whole, the Hyuga and Uchiha clans were at one time known to be bitter rivals in terms of whose dojutsu was stronger than the other. Though it had been said by some that in terms of true sight that the Byakugan surpassed the Sharingan. A/N, it's beyond me why Kishimoto never elaborated on this statement in the manga. In terms of Hinata's future love life, Ko had no say in the matter. However, he doubted that Hayashi would approve of having Sasuke wedded to either of his daughters and blending their bloodline limit with a once rival clan. Elsewhere, Hinata and Naruto were still walking hand in hand through the streets of Konoha. By this time, it was common knowledge how close the Hyuga heiress and Naruto were. Most decided not to pay them any mind while a few still whispered whenever they passed by. As for Naruto and Hinata themselves, they didn't care either way. "Hinata-chan," Naruto said, "I've been meaning to ask you how did your spar with Hanabi went?" Hinata sighed, "It's difficult holding back in my sparring sessions against Hanabi when I've improved so much from how I used to be." "Is it because you fear that you might seriously hurt her more than you want to?" Naruto asked. "That," Hinata admitted, "but while trying to follow your example, it's hard listening to my father's harsh words of disappointment, while I lose to Hanabi. Along with that, my sister really believes that she's actually stronger, faster and more skilled in Juken than I am. Niji is no help either as he looks for every opportunity to belittle or mock me with false comfort, while making remarks about fate and predestination. Even the clan elders look at me as a failure as an heiress. I even heard a rumor that a few of them were saying how if this keeps up, I'll be forced to step down as clan heiress and be replaced with Hanabi. Holding up this misleading pretense as a failure is harder than I honest thought it was going to be." Naruto understood where Hinata was coming from, especially since he was the very person who taught and explained to her the art of trickery. "Welcome to the life of the ninja," Naruto remarked with no trace of sarcasm. "Like I told you before, deception is one of our main weapons and sometimes we can't even show our relatives what we're truly capable of. If they were to truly know everything about you, considering everything you told me about them, they would undoubtedly look for ways to keep you under their thumb. But hey, what do I know? I'm an orphan with no family or clan of my own to speak of, so." "You have me, Naruto-kun," Hinata said, "and aren't I your best and closest friend?" "You are," Naruto smiled, "and speaking of being my best friend, how about a friendly sparring session?" "I'm up to it," Hinata accepted. With that, Naruto led her to one of the secluded training grounds away from civilian territory. Naruto was happy to see that no one else was there using the area, and after a careful search, it was clear that they were truly alone and not being spied on. "Well, we're here, Naruto-kun," Hinata said. "Are you still up to that sparring session you offered me earlier?" "Ready and waiting," Naruto grinned as he took a few steps away from Hinata and got into a fighting position. Hinata assumed her Juken stance, which looked more polished and professional than she let on when around others. "Are you ready?" Naruto challenged. "My moon's eye spring rabbit?" Despite her blush from the nickname he'd occasionally call her by, Hinata replied, "More than ever." Both opponents looked at each other with calculative eyes, as if they were waiting for the other to attack first. Acting fast, Hinata back-flipped from an assault that came from behind at her feet from one of Naruto's Kage Bushins. She flipped away few times before she stood back up. "That was a dirty trick," Hinata chided. "Really?" Naruto said, "and since when do our enemies fight fair?" This time Hinata took the offense and went to Naruto. The Kage Bushin trying to intersect her, but she effectively dispelled it with a quick Juken strike. Reaching Naruto, Hinata engaged him in one-on-one combat. Unlike her spar session with Hanabi, Hinata made no attempt to hold back against Naruto, although her Inryoku Fujin served to slow her down some. Regardless, she pushed forward in the effort to keep up with Naruto's speed. Naruto saw that Hinata had indeed gotten much better in terms of her endurance and stamina. In the past, she couldn't even last a full 7 minutes because of the strain that the Inryoku Fujin placed on her body, mind and chakra coils. Now she was able to hold out longer than before and her Juken improved even more so as a result. Backing away, Naruto formed a hand sign. "Tajua Kage Bushin no Jutsu," Naruto said as she summoned 25 clones to his side and had them surround Hinata. 25 to 1 Hinata-chan, Naruto grinned, "I got you surrounded." Not allowing herself to be deterred by the overwhelming number, Hinata stood her ground. "Quality not quantity," Hinata said. That's what wins a fight. Isn't that what you taught me, Naruto-kun? Well then, let's see what you've learned, Naruto proposed before his clones rushed at Hinata. Bracing herself. Byakugan, Hinata said as she activated her bloodline limit and engaged the clones one by one, a few times two at a time. A couple of strikes managed to land their way on her, but she managed to hold her ground and fight back against them with more vigor and determination. As the number of clones decreased, Hinata saw that their speed and strength increased each time, thus adding to the difficulty of winning the battle and wearing her down faster. But there was no sign of Naruto ever releasing his seals at all. Therefore Hinata didn't release hers either, but rather endured the increasing difficulty and fought on. By the time the clones were all gone, Hinata was sweating, breathing hard, and her clothes were a bit rugged and dirty. She had a couple of bruises and sores, but nothing serious. Very good, Naruto complimented. You lasted longer, and this time you managed to beat all 25 of my clones. You certainly improved from before my Moon's Eye Spring Rabbit. Hinata wiped away the dirt on her face and looked back at Naruto with a confident smile. I didn't come all this way to stay stagnant in my advancements. I see, Naruto said before bursting into a cloud of smoke. When the smoke cleared, Hinata found that Naruto was no longer in sight. In fact, he was no longer anywhere on the training ground. Where did he go? Hinata wondered as she went to look for him with her bloodline limit still activated. After a couple of minutes, she still couldn't determine where he went. Naruto-kun, Hinata asked while hoping to find him soon. Despite his strength, she still worried about his well-being and safety. A moment later, Hinata found a strong wind gust blow into her and knock her off her feet and on her rear end. Where did that wind come from? Hinata asked with a confused look while getting back up. That wind force was just spontaneous. It's more like from whom it came from, Naruto said as he appeared in front of her from behind one of the trees. What do you mean? Hinata asked as she deactivated her bloodline limit. Naruto took out a small piece of paper and showed it to Hinata. This special piece of paper is designed to help identify what our elemental affinities are. Elemental affinities? Hinata asked. Naruto continued. All of us have an affinity of some sort, whether it's earth, fire, wind, water, or lightning. If you take this piece of paper and focus chakra into it, it'll identify what your affinity is. What's yours? Hinata questioned. Wind, Naruto replied, which is a strong and rare attack element. Very few have this element. If the paper breaks down into dust, then you're an earth type. If it burns, then it's fire. If it tears in two, then it's wind. If it gets wet, then you're a water type. If it crumples, you're a lightning type. Now take this paper and focus your chakra into it to see what element you have. After taking the paper from him, Hinata did as instructed into pouring some of her chakra into the small piece of paper. A moment later after she did, Hinata saw that the paper got wet and soaked. Looks like you're a water type, Naruto acknowledged. I was hoping that I was a wind type like you, Naruto-kun, Hinata said with a hint of disappointment in her tone. Hey, Naruto said, water is still a powerful element. Besides having the capacity of dousing out fires and cooling down lava and molten steel, it can do all sorts of damages like tsunamis, for example. Plus it's a most useful cleaning agent and life-sustaining element. We'd die faster without water than anything else. Hinata was thinking about what Naruto was telling her. I take it that your newfound understanding on elemental affinities was the result of your awakening knowledge in your mind, Hinata acknowledged. Naruto admitted, it is, though that happened 2 weeks ago. Since then, Hinata asked, why didn't you tell me sooner? And ruin the surprise, Naruto replied, don't think so. I should have known you'd pull something like that on me, Hinata said, but still, how far along with your understanding and training with your affinity are you? I still have a long way to go, Naruto replied. Even with Kage Bushins, mastering my affinity will require much time. It'll take even longer for me since I can't make as many Kage Bushins as you, Hinata sighed. Naruto understood where Hinata was coming from. So far her limit in creating Kage Bushin were 2 before succumbing to near chakra exhaustion. Naruto warned her not to go past 2, otherwise the Kinjutsu would end up killing her. Because of that, Hinata made use of Kage Bushin, a rarity, at least for now. It's true that you can't make as many Kage Bushins like I can, Naruto said, but we still have a large body of water for you to get started on and practicing. Naruto pointed to the lake that was just a minute walk away from them. Besides learning about elemental affinities, Naruto said, I learned something else too. Naruto led Hinata down to the lake and stopped in front of it. He took off his sandals and instructed Hinata to do so also. What are you planning to do? Hinata asked as she removed her sandals. Grinning, Naruto went over to the water and started walking on top of it. Hinata had an expression of surprise and disbelief. You're actually walking on top of the water, Hinata said. By this time, Naruto had already learned and mastered tree walking and taught it to Hinata, who also now mastered the ability to tree walking after a matter of days. Why don't you come join me? Naruto invited with his right hand extended out to her. It's no different from tree walking except now you're doing it on water. Think of your chakra as a flotation device. Focus your chakra down to your feet and walk on top of the water. Doing as instructed, Hinata focused her chakra down to her feet and attempted to walk on top of the cold lake water. She took a few steps into the lake with most of her feet on top of the water. Looking good, Hinata-chan, Naruto encouraged. Hinata smiled at Naruto complimenting her, and her concentrated more of her chakra to her feet until she was completely standing on top of the lake water. I'm actually doing it, Naruto-kun, Hinata said excitedly. That's pretty good for a first-timer, Naruto complimented. I plunged completely into the water on my first 7 attempts at the hot springs. Hinata laughed and asked, why on earth would you attempt this jutsu at the hot springs? As a means to get me to learn this jutsu faster so as to not get burned, Naruto remarked. That was rather extreme, don't you think? Hinata remarked. It got the job done though, Naruto replied back. Besides, you have better chakra control than I do, so water walking should come as second nature to you faster than it did me. He gestured for her to come over to him. Complying, Hinata walked over to him. Reaching him, Naruto took her by the hand and led her to the middle of the lake. Alright, my little spring rabbit, Naruto said, we'll be starting your elemental training today, and what better place than in the middle of the lake? Is that really such a good idea? Hinata asked worriedly. I might fall into the lake from chakra exhaustion. We're not doing any strenuous elemental training, Hinata-chan, Naruto said. We're just staring with the elementary basics for now. In another part of Konoha, Kurenai was at the dango shop with her friend Mitarashi Enko, the special jounin interrogation specialist. The two women were currently taking a break from work and conversing together at the shop. This year's Genin class graduated from the academy, and yet you still chose not to become a jounin sensei, Kurenai remarked. Enko took another bite into her dango. I don't have time to deal with a pack of misfit delinquents, Enko said between biting and chewing her dango before swallowing. Besides, none of them would survive the training and hell I'd put them through. How would you know? Kurenai asked. You never took a team to see if they even possess any true potential. I don't have time to be anyone's sensei, Enko replied. Besides, my last sensei turned out to be nothing more than a psychopathic jutsu-obsessed lunatic I wish I could kill right now. Such a vengeful spirit you have there, Enko, a masculine voice said from behind Enko. The two women turned to see Kakashi standing by them with his infamous orange book in hand with his face buried in it. Kakashi, Kurenai greeted, you're back earlier than expected. How did your new Genin team make out with your bell test? They're back in the academy actually, Kakashi said without taking his face from out of the back. Kurenai and Enko weren't ignorant to Kakashi's reputation of having a long list of Genin graduates he failed for their failing his bell test. And again his new test missed the meaning behind his test. Looks like you won't have a team for another year, Kurenai said. I saved their lives to tell you the truth, Kakashi replied. Their performance during the test was rather deplorable, and they had now intentions of helping and working with each other as they were out for their own success. They weren't ready for the real life as ninjas. I'm sure next year's team will prove otherwise, Kurenai said. Knowing Kakashi, Enko remarked, he'll fail them too, so don't hold your breath for even an instant. You're probably right, Enko, Kakashi replied before blushing and giggling perversely after reading an explicit scene from his Ika Ika Paradise book. Kurenai frowned at Kakashi's behavior, while Enko simply paid him no mind and continued eating and drinking her sake. My eternal rival! Yelled a flamboyant voice. Everyone knew that voice anywhere as they looked to see an all-too-familiar figure entering the establishment, Mato Guy. Guy, Kakashi asked, what brings you here? I'm here to share with you the youthful jubilation of my Genin success in passing my test, Guy said excitedly. 10-10, Lee and Niji did far better than I expected and didn't allow the difficulty of the test to dampen their flames. So your team passed your test, Kakashi replied. I suppose congratulations are in order. What about your team? Guy inquired. I failed them, Kakashi said. They failed to see underneath the meaning of my bell test. They even failed the boxed lunch test I gave them as their second chance. Don't let not having a team soil your youthful fire, Guy encouraged. I'm sure your next team will do much better and pass your test. Oh, Kakashi said mockingly from his book, did you say something, Guy? Arg, Guy shouted, curse you and your hip attitude, my eternal rival. To think Guy and Kakashi have always been like this with each other while growing up, Kurenai remarked. There are some things and people who'll never change, Anko said. Speaking of change, Kurenai interjected, I'm aiming to have Hinata as my future genin pupil. You mean Niji's younger cousin, Guy acknowledged. That's right, Kurenai said sympathetically. Her clan sees her as a burden for her inability to learn their clan fighting style. Regardless of their harsh view of the young girl, I know she has potential to rise above her difficulties and prove wrong all those who think little of her. You're already attached to the young girl, I see, Kakashi remarked. So what's that to you? Kurenai asked. Just making a mental note of things, Kakashi replied with his head still buried in his book. I heard from others that the Hyuga heiress is a mostly shy and timid girl. But from what I've seen from time to time, I often question her shyness and timid nature. Why is that? Kurenai curiously, though she wondered where Kakashi was getting at. For instance, Kakashi explained, she's particularly close and fond of the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jinchuriki. I'm sure by now that you're very well aware that she's been seen with Naruto almost everywhere he goes, regardless of what most of the villagers say or how she's viewed by them for doing so over the years. In spite of her timid and shy nature, her courage to openly stand up against the villagers' senseless discrimination toward Naruto is most admirable, more so than the genins I failed today and all the others I failed over the years. Yash, Guy said happily, Hinata-san's youthfulness is most radiant. I applaud her burning zeal in not to being influenced by the unyouthful spirit of those who scorn their hero. Like I said before, Kurenai remarked, she has potential and I hope that I'm given the chance to bring them out. We'll see how things turn out next year then with the next genin class, Kakashi stated. Back at the training ground, Hinata and Naruto had placed their sandals back on their feet after coming out from the lake when their physical and elemental training concluded for the day. I'm exhausted, Hinata breathed. Likewise, Naruto said with a smile, but you did pretty good today, my little moon's eye spring rabbit. Naruto moved and kissed Hinata softly on her left cheek. The gesture turned Hinata's shocked face bloody red. Naruto then realized what he did. Hinata-chan, Naruto panicked, I am sorry. I don't know what came over me. I mean. Hinata touched the spot on her face where Naruto kissed. A moment later, Hinata giggled excitedly with her face still red. He kissed me, Hinata shouted in her mind happily. Naruto-kun actually kissed me for the very first time. That means there's a chance that in the future we'll become something more than friends. Hinata turned to Naruto and assured, I'm not angry at you for kissing my face, Naruto-kun. To be honest, I really enjoyed it. Naruto sighed in relief, wanting to know where the impulse to want to kiss her came from. Swallowing her own fear and nervousness, Hinata went over and kissed Naruto's right cheek in return. Now it was Naruto's turn to blush and touch the spot where Hinata kissed him, realizing that was the first time Hinata kissed him. Now I know what it feels like to be kissed, Naruto grinned, it's a great feeling. Hinata giggled again before reaching and taking hold of Naruto's hand. Let's go back and get something to eat, Hinata suggested. Great idea, Naruto agreed, let's get Sandaime-san to treat us out to lunch. The pair left the training ground with their hand and fingers entwined together. It was a while before they reached the Hokage Tower, but they got there nonetheless. Upon arriving, they stepped over to the secretary and told her that they were here to see the Hokage. The secretary called and informed Hiruzen of his visitors, and he told her that they were allowed up into his office. Happy that the Hokage had time for them, Hinata and Naruto hurried on their way to see Hiruzen. When they entered through the door of his office, they found Hiruzen sitting at his desk going over some documents among the many other documents on his desk. Hey Jizan, Naruto greeted, are you busy? Hinata-chan and I were wondering if you'd treat us to ramen today? It's more like you were hoping he'd treat us, Naruto-kun, Hinata thought to herself. Hiruzen looked at the two youths in front of him and chuckled, well, I suppose no harm could come out of it. Besides, I'm in need of a break anyway. Sweet, Naruto said excitedly before Sandaime stood up from his chair and went over to Hinata and Naruto. Well now, Hiruzen said, let's be on our way then. Meanwhile, Sasuke was still roaming about the streets of Konoha when Sasuke-kun. Sasuke just kept walking, not wanted to pay heed to the one calling to him. Sasuke-kun. The girl named Sakura finally caught up to Sasuke. The boy in turn had no choice but to confront her as he turned to face her. Yes, Sakura, Sasuke replied, what do you want? Well, Sasuke-kun, Sakura started, I was hoping that. Sasuke's eyes caught sight of something that caught his attention, which cut Sakura off. Sakura turned around to see what it was and found that it was Sandaime walking together with Naruto and Hinata. All three of them were heading towards Sasuke and Sakura. It's Sandaime-sama, Sakura acknowledged, and he's with Naruto and Hinata. Sasuke said nothing in reply. Hello there, you two, Hiruzen greeted with his grandfather-like smile. Is everything all right with you two? Fine, Sasuke replied plainly. Everything's great, Sandaime-sama, Sakura said. Where were you going? I'm out on my well-deserved break for lunch, Sandaime said. Naruto and Hinata are here to accompany me. Would you both like to join us too? I'd love to, Sakura said excitedly. Seeing the chance to be near Hinata, Sasuke accepted. I'll accept your invitation. Sasuke moved to be next to Hinata. The Uchiha turned to look at Naruto, who in turn resisted the urge to frown at him. Sakura hurried to stand next to Sasuke. Well, let's be on our way then, Hiruzen suggested. The group then made their way over to Ichiraku. While on the way, Sasuke turned to Hinata and said, I was hoping to run into you earlier. I stopped by but was told that you weren't home. No, Hinata said, I left after my Juken training was over. And how's that going? Sasuke asked. Hinata lowered her head. Not so well. I'm still having trouble understanding my clan style, though I made some progress. It's better than no progress, Sasuke replied. What you obtain from it is an accomplishment by itself. Be proud of your current success, if that much, Hinata. Thank you, Hinata said, trying to act as meek and shy as possible. Sakura looked at Hinata with jealousy and resentment, even though Hinata did nothing significant to really gain Sasuke's attention, or so Sakura believed. What could you possibly see in her, Sasuke-kun? Sakura wondered with a frown. Naruto saw the look at Sakura's face but chose not to give any comment about it. Hey Jizan, Naruto asked. Yes, Naruto, Hiruzen replied. The author to that Ika Paradise book was one of your students, right? Naruto asked. The one called Jiraiya? Yes, Hiruzen admitted. He's also one of the 3 Sanins. Who are the other 2? Naruto asked. I'd have thought by now that subject would have been covered in class by Irika, Hiruzen remarked. It was, Sakura said before giving Naruto a dirty look, 2 days ago in fact. Naruto happened to have been cutting class that day. He was given detention yesterday after Irika-sensei busted him trying to peep in the women's bathhouse that same afternoon he cut class. The pervert. Hinata recalled that day, acknowledging that she too was in the same bathhouse that day when the incident took place. She and the other girls were wondering why they heard Irika smacking and yelling at someone over the fence. No way. Hinata gasped and wondered with hands over her mouth with a deep blush on her face. Was Naruto-kun trying to peep at me? Irika-sensei was exaggerating, Naruto replied. I was only trying to do more research on how to make my jutsu more effective. I just needed to study live young and mature beautiful specimens in order to do so. But I was careless and ended up getting caught by Irika-sensei. Hiruzen saw how Naruto was acting and even talking similar to Jiraiya. Sakura attempted to smack Naruto across his head. Naruto quickly ducked, which caused Sakura to end up missing his head in the process. That was when Hiruzen saw how Sakura was like a reflection of Tsunade in terms of her violent temper. You're such a freaking hentai. Sakura barked before turning to Hinata. I can't understand how you could stand being around him. Naruto-kun isn't a bad person, Sakura-san, Hinata defended. True, he has his faults, but who doesn't? I'm sure Sakura wouldn't have minded if it was Sasuke that was trying to peep at her, Naruto remarked. Sakura blinked for a moment and thought about what Naruto actually said. A moment later, a blush appeared on her face. Point proven, Naruto remarked with a victorious smile. Sasuke snarled at Naruto for using him to prove his point, as perverted as it was. Sasuke-kun wouldn't do such a thing, Sakura defended. He has more sense of class and dignity. Unlike you. Whatever, Naruto shrugged. If I ever catch you trying to peep at me, Naruto, Sakura warned, I'll beat you to within an inch of your life. Yep, Hiruzen thought, very much like Tsunade. I told you, Naruto retorted, I needed to study live young and mature beautiful specimens. That did not entail you being one of them. Plus, you're too masculine and flat-chested to give me any inspiration. Why you? Sakura yelled murderously as she chased after Naruto, who in turn laughed and ran from her. Come back here, Naruto, Sakura screamed. I'll make you pay for insulting my beauty. Hiruzen sighed to himself, seeing how Naruto and Sakura acted too much like his past students. Even the way they interacted was similar. At the very least, Sasuke smirked, the dope did me a favor in getting Sakura to chase after him and leaving Hinata behind. Turning to Hinata, Sasuke asked, Are you really sure about what you said and not being bothered by what Naruto was caught doing 2 days ago? He said that it was for his jutsu, Hinata replied. If it meant strengthening it, then. You mean his Oiroku no Jutsu? Sasuke interjected. I'm sure he was using that as a cover to avoid getting in more trouble. But it, Hinata stuttered. It what? Sasuke inquired. It knocked you and Sandame-sama unconscious, if I recalled correctly, Hinata meekly reminded. Naruto's jutsu proved to be a most effective instrument, especially when he said that he could have killed you both and the other males if he were serious after knocking all of you out. Both Hiruzen and Sasuke frowned and lowered their heads in being reminded of their most shameful moment. I'll never hear the end of this, Hiruzen mental sighed, even after 3 years. Naruto baka, Sasuke thought. I recall him making me look like a fool in front of Hinata and everyone else twice that day. There must be a way to resist that jutsu. As for Sandame, he could only wonder what the unknown future had in store for him and the next genin class that was to graduate next year. 10 months later. Hinata, age 13, was in her room assembling everything she needed. After seeing that all of the food and other required necessities were gathered together, she took and opened the scroll Naruto, age 13, prepared for her in advance. She used it to seal away everything she assembled in her room. When that was done, she rolled the scroll close and tied it before hiding it inside her Eskimo-like jacket. Seeing that she was ready to go, she left her room and made a quick pace through the house to meet up with Naruto, age 13. On the way she passed by Hanabi, age 8, who was walking from the opposite from her. You sure are in a hurry this early in the morning, Nei-san, Hanabi acknowledged. I'm rying to meet up with Naruto-kun, Hinata replied between her stuttering. I see, Hanabi replied, though I still don't understand what you see in him, Nei-san. Why so? Hinata asked as turned to face her younger sister. He's not a prodigy, Hanabi explained, or strong as Niji, age 14. He has the poorest grades and is the dead last year class from what this Uchiha Sasuke, age 13, once told me when he came by here some time ago. And everyone knows this Naruto is a troublemaker, and he's constantly getting into trouble. I'm even more confused as to why father, despite knowing about Naruto's infamous reputation, even allows you to associate with such a hooligan, let alone hang out with him from time to time. I fear that your time with him will have a bad influence on you, Nei-san. You may start acting like him. The elders, as you already know, don't approve of your friendship with him. What Hanabi didn't mention was that frequently she'd hide behind walls, crates, and other objects large enough to conceal her appearance whenever she was secretly eavesdropping or spying on Hinata and Naruto whenever he came by to spend time with Hinata. Sometimes she would try to move and hide behind closer objects in order to hear what they were talking about. So far Hanabi wasn't able to find out much about the things they talk about, and oftentimes they would move on and head someplace else before she could really hear anything they were talking about. Hanabi would try to study Naruto while trying to ascertain whether he was all of the negative things she heard people say about him. She never once felt any form of hostility or danger from him as she overheard some of the things the villagers said of him. She couldn't understand why almost everyone in Konoha hated Naruto and treated him harshly. True, he pulls a lot of pranks and jokes, but none of them were ever life-threatening to anyone. And where do you stand in all this? Hinata asked. I doubt what I say would matter anyway, Hanabi remarked. You wouldn't listen regardless, and you would still choose to be with Naruto anyway. I will admit, Hinata replied meekly, I never thought you were that attentive to me. I learned to be mindful of things that take place on around me, Hanabi said, something father taught me. But tell me, why do you choose Naruto over Sasuke? I know this Sasuke person really likes you, and a few times he even asked me a few things about you. Did he? Hinata asked, rather surprised by that revelation, and what did you tell him? If you must know, Hanabi replied, I told him that if he's so interested in you to go ask you his questions himself. I see, Hinata said, holding back a giggle that wanted to escape her throat. I appreciate your concern for me, but I must be on my way now. But Nei-san. Hanabi was about to say something further, but Hinata turned and ran off from the manor. She never answered my question, Hanabi said to herself before she turned and walked deeper into the house. Why does Nei-san like Naruto so much? And why is father willing to overlook Naruto's faults and ill-viewed reputation and allow him to even associate with us? I don't understand. Meanwhile, Hinata saw that was she about to be running late, so she quickened the pace. She was making good timing when Hinata stopped and turned to see Sasuke walking and making his way over to her. No, Hinata sighed, not now. Sasuke-san, Hinata greeted. Smiling, Sasuke said, since you're on your way to the academy, how about we walk and talk together? I could use the company. I suppose, Hinata replied as Sasuke smoothly walked and stepped up next to her at her left. Sasuke and Hinata started walking towards the academy while Hinata's mind was racing with many thoughts in her mind. This isn't good, Hinata thought. If I don't think of something fast, I'll. Sasuke-kun! Two female voices yelled out. Sasuke sighed and grumbled under his breath, not those two again. Hinata looked to see Ino, age 13, and Sakura, age 13, running and racing to catch up with Sasuke. Sasuke-kun, wait for me, Ino shouted as she quickened her pace. Out of my way, Ino pig, Sakura yelled while trying to shove Ino out of her way. Fat chance forehead girl, Ino retorted as she shoved Sakura away from her. The two girls caught up to Sasuke and Hinata. Sasuke-kun, Ino asked as charming and feminine as possible, why don't we walk together to class? No way, Sakura argued, I'm going to be walking with Sasuke-kun. Seeing this momentary distraction, Hinata looked to see a collared black cat run by. Deciding to follow it, Hinata went after the cat, causing the cat to run off from her. A moment later, Sasuke turned to see Hinata running from them in a different direction. Where is she going? Sasuke asked himself before leaving Ino and Sakura to argue with each other before realizing that Sasuke was no longer there with them but following after Hinata. What does he see in her? Ino asked aloud. I'm a clan heiress too. Shut up, pig, Sakura replied. I'm someone special too. In your own world you are forehead, Ino shot back as she and Sakura chased after Sasuke. The Uchiha looked and saw Hinata turn and run into an alley. He followed after her, and soon entered the same alley she ran into. He found Hinata trying to encourage a cute-looking young black kitten standing on top of a tall fence to come to her. You ran all this way for a small cat? Sasuke asked skeptically. It might belong to someone, Hinata said. I thought I'd retrieve and return the cat. Sakura and Ino entered the alley and found Sasuke and Hinata standing in front of the tall wooden fence that blocked any passage through the alley. Here, kitty, Hinata said sweetly with her arms extended toward the feline. It's all right. You can come to me. I'll take you back to your owner safely, I promise. The black kitten meowed before it turned and jumped to the other side of the fence and ran off. It got away, Hinata said a bit sadly. I really thought I had her that time. You wasted Sasuke-kun's time for a cat, Sakura asked with a scolding tone. Hinata lowered her head meekly. That's enough out of you, Sakura, Sasuke replied as he turned away from the fence. It's not Hinata's fault. I chose to follow after her. Besides, we need to hurry on our way to class now. We're about to be late. Seeing what Sasuke was talking about, the four of them made their way out of the alley and toward the academy. The said black kitten jumped back over the fence and walked out of the alley to see the group heading away from her. The kitten then ran off in another direction. 30 minutes later, outside the village walls in the forest. She's running late, Naruto said as he stood at the bottom base of the waterfall. It's not like Hinata to be late like this. I wonder if something came up. Naruto waited for another 8 minutes. He was about to get up and investigate what happened when his eyes caught sight of a black kitten approaching him. Curiously, he went over toward the kitten as the female feline meowed to him. Hey there, Naruto asked, what are you doing out here? When he got close enough to the kitten, he was about to reach down to pick it up when the kitten burst into a cloud of smoke. Huh, Naruto said confusedly. When the smoke cleared, it revealed to be Hinata standing in the spot the kitten was. Hinata-chan, Naruto said happily, what happened? I was getting worried. It was hard getting here without getting caught, Hinata said. I ran into one obstacle and then another. What were they? Naruto asked. Hanabi kept pressing the matter about why I like you so much before I was able to get away from her. Hinata explained, I had a run-in with Sasuke who wanted to be my escort to the academy before Ino and Sakura appeared wanting to accompany Sasuke to class. How did you get away from them? Naruto asked. I found a kitten and followed after it into an alley. Catching it, I quickly made a Kage Bushin of myself before I leaped to the top of the fence blocking the alley with the kitten. Letting the kitten go to the other side of the fence, I hinged into the same kitten and stood top of the fence just as Sasuke arrived. My clone acted quickly and acting like she was trying to retrieve and bring me back home to my owner. I ran off and hid myself until I was in the clear to leave by means of another route and make my way over here where you were waiting. But I had to stay in that kitten form while avoiding being spotted. Naruto laughed and applauded Hinata's ingenuity. That was so cool how you got away from them, my sly moon's eye spring rabbit, Naruto cheered. You're becoming more like me every day. Yeah, Hinata replied, that's what Hanabi said. I'm still wondering how you talked me into cutting class today just so. You can spend the day with me and do something better with your time other than listening to Irika-sensei ever so interesting lectures, Naruto interjected. If father finds out about this, Hinata said worriedly. He won't, Naruto assured. This is our cut day, The day we get to cut class and do whatever we want so long we don't get caught doing so. I pulled stunts like this through the year whenever I wanted to skip out on class without getting caught when there was something I wanted to train myself in that required more of my time and energy. Besides, I believe I told you already that Irika-sensei's planned lectures that I managed to look into yesterday won't involve any spars or any physical training. Just reviews of about the history of our late Yondaime, and how he brought about Kyuubi's defeat. And that doesn't interest you as something worth reviewing? Hinata asked. Did it do likewise with you seeing that we're both here now? Naruto shot back. Fair comment. Hinata shrugged before reaching into her jacket and pulling the rolled-up Tide scroll out. In any case, there's no turning back now. We might as well get our proclaimed cut day started. You sound more excited about this than I do, Naruto teased. I just hope we don't get caught, Hinata said. Relax, Naruto assured, I'll make sure nothing happens to you. You promise? Hinata asked for reassurance. I give you my word, Naruto said confidently, and I never go back on my word. It's my Nindo. Databeo. Having his reassurance, Hinata opened the scroll and laid it on the ground. Standing in front of it, she made the required hand sign. Kai, Hinata said as the scroll burst into a cloud of smoke and unsealed its contents. Meanwhile, everyone was in class reviewing the notes Irika was giving them about Yondaime, and his time reigning as the Hokage before Kyuubi's attack on the village. Hinata was sitting at her desk going over her notes, while Naruto, now wearing a ridiculous bright orange jumpsuit with blue and white linings around it with a pair of goggles around his head, was resting his head on the desk, sleeping. After another 20 minutes. Naruto! Irika yelled. Naruto woke up instantly and stood up from his desk and yelled, I'm innocent. I swear I wasn't peeping and sneaking into the women's bathhouse again. Everyone burst out laughing at Naruto's reaction as he looked around and realized where he was. At least we know where your mind is, Naruto, Irika remarked. Now you mind explaining what we the class were discussing? Something about Yondaime and IWA, and how he slaughtered a whole army of IWA ninjas by himself in less than a second, Naruto said, scratching the back of his head, though I don't quite understand how a mere human like Yondaime could kill a Bijou, let alone the strongest of them. I know Yondaime was a powerful Hokage and everything, but it doesn't seem to make sense to me whenever I think about it. Something about that story doesn't quite add up. Irika hid his nervous expression while thinking of something to say. Could Naruto be on the verge of figuring out the village's darkest secret? Irika wondered worriedly. Naruto, Kiba, age 13, said, little ever makes sense to you. Besides, I'm sure you were sleeping in class when that part of your question was covered. Before Naruto could retort. That's right, Irika said, piggyback riding on Kiba's statement. Next time stay awake for my class and you'd probably understand the village's history more than you do now. Whatever, Naruto snorted as he sat back down on his seat and turned to look at Sasuke. Sasuke grunted as his response to Naruto. Don't act like you're all cool and crap, team, Naruto said. Naruto, Irika warned, one more outburst from you and I'll have you on bathroom duty. Don't you mean bathhouse duty? Naruto asked jokingly. No, you moron! Irika yelled with his face reddened. Everyone was laughing again. Idiot, Sasuke muttered. Just sit down and pay attention, Irika said after calming down. Seeing that Naruto was done causing another ruckus, Irika resumed the review with the class. I think I played my part convincingly, Naruto thought, and Hinata is doing likewise also. Back at the waterfall deep in the forest, Naruto, wearing only his black swimming trunks, was standing at the base of the waterfall with 6 of his Kagebushins, was catching his breath while they were standing in front of the falling waters. Hinata, wearing her white 2-piece bathing suit, was standing on the water several feet behind Naruto and his clones. She was wearing her swim's clothes underneath her regular clothes earlier before she left her house, thus she didn't have to waste time putting them on after arriving at the waterfall. She simply had to remove her regular clothes and sandals. It was likewise with Naruto and his swim trunks. Off to the side at the shore of the waterfall was a prepared picnic site with their drinks, lunches, towels and folded clothes were. A large comforter blanket was opened and lying on ground where their belongings were. A moment later, Naruto dispelled his clones and absorbed the experience his clones had gained for him. That was really good, Naruto-kun, Hinata cheered. You managed to split the waterfall that time. Naruto turned and gave Hinata a large smile. I've been practicing that for some time now, Naruto said. It's only now I've managed to finally get the job done. You came a long way, Hinata replied, but I still have a way to go in mastering my water manipulation. But you made great progress too, Naruto encouraged, far more than you thought you would. At the rate you're going, you'll be a true spring water rabbit. Manipulating some of the water around them, Hinata levitated it over to her and shaped it into 2 bunny ears over her head while making a bunny tail with the rest of the remaining water. Aren't I already a spring rabbit? Hinata joked. A delicious-looking one at that, I might add, Naruto said with a lecherous smile as he eyed Hinata up and down. As a young teenager, Naruto saw that Hinata was developing in a beautiful girl and her breasts were developing between B and C cup, which was surprising even for him. With regards to her body, she had a figure many girls their age would die for, and her secret training with Naruto only served to help shape it all the more. Hinata's face was burning crimson at Naruto's behavior and how he was studying her. True, Hinata admitted to herself, Naruto-kun is a pervert, there's no denying that fact. But he never had me do anything I was never comfortable with or bring more trouble for me than it was worth. As Hinata was looking at Naruto, she too saw how Naruto have changed and developed over the course of time. No longer was he that slim undernourished orphan who ate only ramen or whatever else he could eat. His time practicing and training vigorously with a better diet plan really did works on his now built well-toned yet still developing body, and his seals in Ryoku Fujin, Gravity Seal, Chakra Sokubuku Fujin, Chakra Restraint Seal, served to add to the strength and stamina his body radiated and carried. Still, Hinata thought, there were times, secretly, wished that I could just. Hinata, Naruto called out, Earth to Hinata-chan. Hinata snapped out of her daze daydreaming and looked back at Naruto. Were you dreaming of me? Naruto teased. Hinata's red face clearly confirmed Naruto's suspicions. I hope I was everything you were dreaming of in whatever fantasy you were having, Naruto remarked. Naruto-kun, behave, Hinata giggled. Well, Naruto said, changing the subject, it's time for your training session. Nodding, Hinata prepared for her training as she walked and moved away from the waterfall. Clearing her mind off all distractions, she assumed a juken stance on top of the water and started practicing the water manipulation stances that Naruto helped her learn. The moves themselves weren't typical water manipulating stances that most water-type ninjas used. These stances were more like a hybrid blend of Tai Chi and ballet dancing with a mix of juken. For the past 10 months, Hinata had been practicing hard in her water manipulation. While doing so, she experimented on creating new water battle moves, both offensive and defensive types, and combining them with her juken. That was proving to be a difficult task over the first couple of months, as a backlash effect would occur whenever she failed to fuse her juken and water manipulation with Byakugan. In time, though, she was seeing signs that her perseverance and consistency were starting to pay off as she was making pleasing progress in her efforts. For half of their elemental training over the months, Naruto had focused on Hinata strengthening her stances, so that she could withstand the backlash effect of failing to fuse juken and water manipulation, while at the same time, be able to control the amount of water she used. Naruto explained that using elemental manipulation and juken would be very difficult to pull off, since it was almost like trying to do 2 things at the same time. But he was sure that in time, Hinata would be able to pull it off. Naruto's own training was far from easy. He spent nearly every day practicing his wind manipulation, but slowly and surely he was making progress and improving his strengthening the use of his elemental affinity, along with strengthening his chakra control with the help of his Chakra Sokubuku Fujin. As Naruto watched Hinata gracefully maneuver her body with such fluidity, with the river waters levitating and dancing around her body as she manipulated it, he couldn't help but admire her beauty, strength and self-confidence she developed over the years. If only she would do that kind of water dancing naked under a full moon in a starlit night, Naruto wondered with a blush and perverted giggle escaping his mouth. After another 25 minutes, Hinata smoothly concluded her training and took a breath. How was I? Hinata asked as she turned to look back at Naruto. Mind if I get your performance on DVD? Naruto joked. Hinata giggled with her cheeks reddened. So I did good then, Hinata figured. Awesome is more like it, Databeo. Naruto replied, come on. Let's take a lunch break. Hinata agreed and walked over to their picnic site. Reaching the comforter blanket, Naruto reached down and retrieved both his and Hinata's towels. The pair dried themselves up before sitting on their comforter blanket together. This is great, Naruto said happily, the best hooky I ever played. For what it's worth, Hinata said as she got their lunches out from her basket, I'm happy I decided to follow along with you. I know, Naruto agreed, because you're my girl. Naruto smacked his mouth shut, realizing what came out of his mouth. By this time, Hinata herself was shocked and surprised by Naruto's declaration, and the color on her face testified to that. Stupid, Naruto mentally berated, why did you have to say something so cheesy like that? I'm Naruto-kun's girl, Hinata thought excitedly. Naruto-kun called me his girl. Does that mean that I'm his girlfriend officially now? Naruto was about to say something when Naruto-kun, Hinata asked hesitantly with hope present in her voice, do you really think of me as your girl? Naruto sighed, seeing no point in cover it up. Hinata-chan, Naruto said, I know that we're close friends and have been for a few years now. I would be lying if I said that there weren't times I wish we could be more than just friends. To be honest, I always wanted to ask you to be my girlfriend, but back then I never worked up the courage to do so in spite of that fact that I knew you always liked me. Hinata felt her heart beating hard and racing with anticipation and hope. Even if they did get caught, and in trouble playing hooky later, for Hinata, it would be worth it if her expectations for what Naruto was about to ask her came true. Hinata-chan, Naruto asked, will you be my girlfriend? Hinata didn't quite hear him clearly as he asked the question too quickly with his words blurred today. Hinata muttered. Seeing his mistake, Naruto corrected himself and asked again, will you be my girlfriend? For Hinata, it was like Naruto proposed to her. She couldn't remember the last time she was this happy. I'd love to, Hinata accepted happily with a few joyful tears coming down her face. Yada! Naruto cheered excitedly before embracing an equally happy Hinata, whose face burned hotly from feeling Naruto's body against her skin. Naruto too blushed upon feeling Hinata's soft body and skin against his. He had to pull away, fearing his perverted nature would get the better of him. This has been the best day of my life, Naruto-kun, Hinata said as she passed Naruto his sandwich. Best day of your life so far, Naruto grinned as he and Hinata ate lunch together as an official couple for the first time. Later that day, at the academy, lunch break was over and Naruto was walking down the hallway mumbling about how he just narrowly passed his exam a while ago. It wasn't a perfect grade like Sasuke, but that was the appearance he wanted to accomplish. After all, he had to maintain his facade as the dead last of his class. Soon though, Naruto looked to see Mizuki, one of the Chunin Academy senseis, making his way over to him. Hey Naruto, Mizuki greeted with a friendly tone. Naruto smiled and greeted, hello Mizuki-sensei. I heard from Irika that you actually passed your test, Mizuki said, even though it was only by so much from what he told me. Hey, Naruto replied, I passed and that's all that matters. It's just another stepping stone in my quest to be Hokage someday. I know, Mizuki said, you told me and everyone this before. You are aware that the Genin exams will be held tomorrow, yes? Of course, Naruto said, scratching the back of his head. I didn't forget, though I hate to admit that it'll be my third attempt at trying to pass that test again. You shouldn't worry too much, Naruto, Mizuki encouraged. I'm sure you'll do better and pass this time around. You really believe I stand a chance? Naruto asked. You know Irika-sensei isn't the forgiving type when it comes to those exams. Perhaps not, Mizuki agreed, but don't sell yourself short yet. Just give it your all and I'm sure that'll be enough for you to pass and finally become one of Konoha's genins. Thanks for the vote of confidence, Mizuki-sensei, Naruto smiled. Just you wait. I'll pass with flying colors. Databao. With that said, Naruto left Mizuki alone in the hallway and made his way to his next destination. Do you really believe in Naruto-kun being able to pass and become a genin? Hinata asked, coming out from hiding behind a nearby staircase. Mizuki turned and found Hinata approaching him. Hinata, Mizuki greeted, how long were you there? I was heading back to class when I heard you encouraging Naruto-kun to do his very best in next week's genin exams, Hinata explained. Very few believes Naruto can pull it off and achieve his goal in becoming genin. Well, Mizuki said, he's no prodigy like Sasuke or your cousin Neji, he doesn't have book smarts like your classmate Sakura. But he has a strong drive that keeps him going regardless of his many failings. You shouldn't worry yourself too much about him, Hinata, Shikamaru, age 13, said as he and Chuji, age 13, approached her from behind. It's just troublesome to do so. Whether or not he passes the genin exams this time around depends entirely on his performance, much more so than his perseverance, regardless how admirable his determination is. Hinata sighed lowly, knowing that Shikamaru was right in his statement. You didn't have to be that harsh about it, Shikamaru, Chuji said. She's obviously concerned for her friend's career as a future ninja. Well, Shikamaru replied, I just don't want Hinata to build up any false hopes or have too high of expectations for what might or might not happen. It's the sad reality of things in this life we live in. You truly are a source for comfort, Chuji remarked cynically. As much as I'd like for us to stick around and discuss Naruto's uncertain future, Mizuki said, I think it would be best if the three of you hurried on your way back to class. Irika would be rather upset with me if he believes me to be the reason for why you guys are late for his class. Nodding, the three hurried on their way back to class. 13 minutes later. All of the students were conversing with each other while waiting for Irika to enter the classroom. A minute later. Sorry for the delay. I got held up taking care of something at the last minute, Irika apologized as he entered the classroom. Everyone gradually quieted down as he went over to his desk. Everyone's back, I see, Irika said as he stood behind his desk and looked around and found that everyone was sitting at their seats. Almost everyone. Has anyone seen Naruto? Irika asked with annoyance clearly present in his tone. Maybe he decided to drop out and start the class all over, one of the students remarked. Some of the students snickered, which only served to annoy Irika further. What are you up to now, Naruto-kun? Hinata wondered. An hour later, at the Hokage Tower. Hiruzen was relaxing in his private study, not having to do so much paperwork. He decided to take the time to practice his calligraphy as a means to enjoy his current free time. Soon, though, his once free time was interrupted. Hokage-sama. Hiruzen sighed, seeing that his once peaceful day was going to end all but peacefully. Hokage-sama. Come quickly! It's an emergency. Two Chunins ran into his private study as he turned to face them. What now? Hiruzen asked with annoyance in his voice. Is Naruto causing trouble again? It's the Hokage monument, one of the Chunin said. He's vandalizing it with paint, even now as we speak. Hiruzen sighed again as he puffed out some from his tobacco pipe. Having no other choice, he got up and placed on his Hokage robes and hat before making his way to the roof of the Hokage Tower. Upon arriving with a few over Chunins and Jounins, they found Naruto on one of the scaffold brazenly painting and writing large graffiti all over the monument. On Senju Hashirama's head, who was also known as the Shodai, there was a painting of the Senju clan's seal insignia and a spiral painted next to it. And all over the Shodai's face were paintings of spirals. On Senju Tobirama's face, once known as Nidame, were graffiti writings that blatantly stated never scored, celibate, and never peeped. On Hiruzen's head, there was red paint drawn down both ends of his nose with a blush that was painting on his cheeks. His face also had graffiti writings that said pervy old monkey. On Namake's Minato's face, once known as Yandame, were black whisker markings painted on his cheeks with a statement that said the Uzumaki will rise and become the second coming of Yandame, and surpass all of the previous Hokages. By this time, everyone in the village was seeing the stunt Naruto was pulling in front of everyone. The question was, how was he able to do so without anyone finding out up until now? Naruto, one of the ninjas on the Hokage Tower, yelled, "What the hell do you think you're doing? You blind stupid," Naruto yelled back with a large G smile. "I'm giving this old monument a new makeover. It's been in great need of one, and I'm just the one to deliver it." "You have any idea how much trouble you're in?" another ninja yelled. "Like that would stop me," Naruto retorted with grin never leaving his face. "It's more fun doing this here than listening to any crappy-ass lecture I get from Irika-sensei." As if on cue, Irika appeared on the roof of the tower where Sandame and the other ninjas were. "Hokage-sama," Irika said with a bow, "1,000 apologies. Naruto was reported missing and not returned to class this early this afternoon, and I've been looking all over for him. It's only now that I've found him committing this act of vandalism while cutting class." "You and everyone else, I might add," Hiruzen replied calmly. "Let me deal with this," Irika said as he turned and looked up at Naruto. "Naruto." Naruto turned and looked down at Irika, staring back at him angrily. "You're in a world of trouble for cutting class again and vandalizing the Hokage monument. Catch me first." Naruto laughed as he leaped off the scaffold with the cans of paint in hand and made his way to the surface from scaffold to scaffold. Irika and the other ninjas took to flight to chase after Naruto. Reaching the streets, Naruto started running from the ninjas after him while still holding the cans of paint. "Get back here, Naruto!" one of the ninjas ordered. Naruto just laughed and continued running while hopping over fences of backyards, gardens, and alleys. Getting to one alley, the group of ninja lost sight of him. "Where did that scornful child go?" the lead jounin asked aloud. They looked around and saw Naruto nowhere in sight. Just then, paint fell and spilled over them from above. "Suckers," Naruto laughed before tossing the emptied cans of paint at them and running off. "Damn you, Kubigaki," one of the jounins cursed. Naruto ran off with the same ninjas after him. A minute later, he turned the corner to his right and hid behind another his camouflaging cloak, blending in with the wall as the paint-covered ninjas ran and passed him by with realizing it. "Get back here," the lead jounin ordered. Naruto grinned victoriously, removing the camouflaging cloak off himself, and said, "That was so easy." A second later. Hey Naruto! Iruka screamed from behind Naruto. The blonde jumped and turned to see Iruka. The hell? Naruto yelled, how do you be finding me? Never mind that, Iruka retorted, you got a lot of nerve cutting my class again. By now that shouldn't come as a surprise, Naruto remarked. Iruka's right eye started twitching as he felt the urge to repeatedly smack Naruto across the head build up. I'll deal with you being punishment later, Iruka stated. Right now I have a class to teach and like it or not you're coming with me. Before Naruto could argue, Iruka grabbed and dragged Naruto back to academy. Meanwhile, Hinata and Naruto were enjoying a nice swim together in the river when they decided that it was time to clean up and return back. The fact that their Kagebushins didn't dispelling told them that everything was going good so far. This was the most fun I had in a long time, Hinata smiled. Thanks for a lovely day, Naruto-kun. I aim to please, my moon's eye spring rabbit, Naruto grinned as he approached and stood in front of her. The water level they were standing in was a few inches beneath their waists. He stood facing her. Hinata felt heat building up within her being as Naruto looked ready to do what she believed he was going to do with the roaring waterfall ever so audible in the background. No way, Hinata thought, is he really going to? I did agree to become his girlfriend and… Naruto felt surprisingly nervous for what he desired to do at this point. Idiot, Naruto's mind screamed, just kiss her already. She wants this as much as you do. So go for it. Seeing the looking on his face, Hinata asked, Naruto-kun, are you Auric? Hinata was cut off when Naruto suddenly embraced and kissed her on her lips for the very first time. Her eyes widened from both shock and excitement when she felt Naruto's lips against hers. He's kissing me, Hinata screamed happily in her mind. I'm being held and kissed by Naruto-kun. She felt like she was in a dream. Everything seemed too good to be true. That thought, however, was knocked to the side when she felt Naruto's arms wrapped around her waist and held her a little tighter to his still wet figure. While fighting the urge to faint, Hinata embraced and wrapped her arms around Naruto's neck and returned the kiss with the same amount of passion as their kiss grew deeper with their tongues waltzing together. Despite how cold the water was, Hinata felt completely warm within herself. For Naruto, it was an amazing experience. He read from many Ika Paradise books how great kissing a beautiful girl was and even what styles of kissing were used, one of which he was trying out and using. But he never in his life thought it would be and feel this good. On the same note though, it took every bit of self-control he had within himself to keep from getting carried away with the position he was in with Hinata, as he was starting to feel more hormonal than he counted on. The feeling of her smooth and wet body against his was driving him mad, and he was so tempted to do a little more. However, not wanting to ruin the best moment he was having with his new girlfriend, Naruto exercised self-restraint. It wasn't until after another 4 minutes when the couple finally, but reluctantly, pulled their lips away from each other in order to catch their breaths. Wow, Naruto exclaimed with a blush of his own on his face, so that's how you taste like. Naruto-kun, Hinata giggled before resting her head on his shoulder with her arms still wrapped around his neck. This was a perfect day. You made me so happy. Thank you? No, Hinata, Naruto said, thank you. If anything, I don't deserve a maiden as beautiful and elegant as you. Too bad this moment can't last longer. We have to go back and soon. I know, Hinata admitted with disappointment present in her tone, but let's bask in this for just another minute. Naruto agreed as he continued to hold Hinata in his arms. Soon though, the couple made moves to clean themselves up and returned back to the village. While doing so, they had to make certain that they didn't leave any loose ends behind. 20 minutes later, back at the academy. Everyone was standing online in class performing a henge test Iruka had everyone do on account of Naruto cutting class in the middle of the day. Everyone but Hinata gave hateful glares at Naruto, but he simply shrugged them off and told everyone that he didn't give a damn. Soon though, Naruto, being last in line, went up next and was told to do a henge. Grinning, Naruto gathered some of his reserved chakra and performed his jutsu as he burst into a cloud of smoke. When the smoke cleared, Iruka-sensei, Naruto said sensually and with an arousal tone as the naked big-breasted blonde young woman he transformed into with both hands on both breasts with very little smoke cover her privates. Can you give me a more pleasurable form of examination, please? Or would you prefer to watch while I perform it myself? Gawking at the sexy young naked female Naruto turned into with what was spoken, Iruka, Sasuke and the other males present flew backwards from nasal blood loss. Naruto changed back and burst into a fit of laughter. Hinata shook her head with closed eyes at Naruto's performance while the rest of the girls in class were seething bloodlust at Naruto, especially for the irritating fact that he could still get that kind of reaction from Sasuke. That was so easy, Naruto laughing, it's so fun knocking you guys out like this. Don't use that absurd hentai jutsu in my class and learn to take me more serious. Iruka yelled at Naruto in a fit of rage after regaining consciousness faster than Naruto expected. After a few moments, all of the other boys woke up and were unhappy about how Naruto caught them all off guard again. The rest of you may go home now, Iruka said. Naruto, stick around. You're not off the hook, not after the stunt you pulled on the monument. All of the other students got their things and left the class. Sasuke turned and gave Naruto a hate-filled death glare. Damn you, Naruto, Sasuke thought angrily, you caught me off guard with your Oiroke no Jutsu again and made me look like a fool in front of Hinata, again. Do you miss Naruto-chan, Sasuke-kun? Naruto mocked with a look that spelled trouble. Shall I arrange for you to see her again? I can if that's what you want. The result was instantaneous as Iruka smacked Naruto hard across the head. By this time, Kiba, Chuji and Shikamaru were holding their guts while laughing their asses off at the scene between Naruto, Sasuke and Iruka. Knock it off, Naruto! Iruka berated. Naruto rubbed the spot where Iruka smacked him. Damn it, sensei! Naruto yelled, lighten up! I was only joking. Naruto-kun, Hinata sighed with her eyes closed. I'm going to seriously hurt Naruto one of these days, Sakura growled. Get in line, forehead, Ino remarked while radiating the same amount of bloodlust and malice. Later, Naruto and Hinata returned back to Konoha undetected and stood on the off of one of the houses. Naruto shushed into with Hinata being carried bridal style in his arms. Naruto was about to say something when Naruto-kun, Hinata said as she pointed and directed Naruto's attention to the defaced monument. Clearly something has taken place during our absence from the village. Naruto looked to see what his girlfriend was talking about. Upon seeing the monument, what the hell, Naruto remarked after seeing the mess it was in. When did this? Just then memories came flashing and merging with his mind, his and Hinata's. It was after a couple of minutes when the memory and experience flashes were absorbed and settled into their heads, giving them a more thorough understanding of the day's events inside the village walls. A minute later, Naruto started snickering before bursting into an all-out fit of laughter. You really are such a clown, Naruto-kun, Hinata remarked. I can't believe you did all this. But you hold affections for me anyway. Naruto grinned before his moved closer and kissed Hinata on her lips while still carrying her. Enjoying this kiss, Hinata kissed him back, and just as she was getting into the mood of things, Naruto! Ah, damn it, Naruto muttered dejectedly, knowing how much trouble he was in after hearing the tone of Iruka's voice. Hinata climbed down off his arms and stood back on her feet. It'll be best if you're not seen here with me, Naruto advised. Hurry on home quickly. Hinata nodded